style. You ain't know this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. You don't even know my pain. You can't even match my style. You don't even know this game. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah. Been in this thing for a while. Been in this thing for a while. Yeah.
Oh man. So we'll introduce our guest, of course, but he was texting me earlier and he was so excited. And I said, bro, you hilarious. And I thought it's hilarious because it's just like, bro, we, you know what I mean? At this point, we bros, we partners, we work together and all these things, but the excitement level was still there. And so I had to really go back and think about how I felt that feeling. And I thought about it with you, Spike. All of the moments of like listening to y'all for years, you and Animal Brown, the on deck, and then us actually working together and meeting you, having that first phone call. And I was dumb excited, like, yo, I'm talking to Spike Lee on the phone, bro. Like, and then to go from that to like, you set it up for Animal Brown to come on. I'm like, bro, I got the on deck guys on the bro. Like I was, yeah. So I completely understand.
we deserve those feelings as black men not having to shy away from. I think,
man,
I was that way when I started working with the Dead End guys. Of course, when I met you two guys as well. Not to dismiss that, but when,
that's different. It's different. We ain't gonna play.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not. We all in the space, you know. But when you watch people and you see that they're good, and then you meet them, and then they're like, no, extend the invitation to come on in here and holler at us. So yeah, I've had those same feelings as well. I appreciate feeling like that, man. As Rich as me and Rich gonna get into, they few and far between for me.
That's the amazing. That is the. Go ahead, man. Just bring us in.
No. Go ahead. You want to bring us in now?
Yeah, bring us in, man. Because I got some more to add to that.
All right, this is another week in the books podcast. This is chapter 52. My name is my name. Interesting title from a Drake fan. We'll get into that later.
Whoa. What is going on? What kind of show?
I just started it off the head, man. Wow. But man, if you've heard another voice, if you haven't yet, well, I'm about to introduce it. Got my man K Rich in there. If you're familiar with Good Earners, the Sopranos review podcast that we all three do, then you know Rich's voice. If you're not familiar with the Sopranos podcast, this is the first time on. Want to let Rich introduce himself. Brother, how are you?
Hey man, I'm beyond the moon. Like, and I don't even say shit like that. So that's how you know I don't use phrases like beyond the moon, but I'm really excited to be here. I genuinely, I've told both of you before on numerous occasions, this is genuinely my favorite podcast. The one that I look forward to the most as far as when it drops, what the content's going to be, the conversation. I was familiar with both of you from Good Earners before I got involved, and I'm sure we'll probably talk about that whole how everything came about. But and Mo, when we first started talking, I told you early, like season 1, when y'all doing Good Earners, I said, yo, man, Spike, like one of my favorite podcasters. Yo, that's the only thing I'd ever heard from him. But I was like, yo, he like,
thank you.
Everything he's saying, it's like, all right, I can feel that. I can understand that. You had a different perspective on certain things, and everything flowed perfectly. And with y'all, when I started getting involved with Another Week in the Books and just listening to the content and the support and just the real conversations we need as black men. And it's crazy because before I got tapped in, my mom was having a conversation with me about, I think you should be in that space as well to start to do something like that. And then I stumbled upon y'all. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect. Let's put this out. Let's get this word out here on this podcast because this is exactly what's needed. And that's the ultimate compliment when you see somebody doing something that you have an idea of and be like, nah, they got it on lock. I can't touch that. Like, that's perfect. So I want to commend both of you brothers, and I'm extremely happy to be here and just talk, man, because as cool as we are and as familiar as we are, we don't know each other. Like,
that's crazy.
We really don't know much about each other. And we've only talked, Spike and myself have only talked about Sopranos other than a couple things in the group chat. So we don't even
Never
other
met
than
in real
listening
life.
to other than listening to y'all and knowing y'all personalities and learning that way, this is our first time really chopping it up as a trio.
That's true.
It always does a lot for me when people lean into the space like what you're saying. Like, we deserve, and part of what we built this platform for, we deserve as black men to be able to feel like that and not be ashamed and not have to push it to the side because it ain't cool, it ain't laid back enough. Like, I'm genuinely looking forward to, and Mo brought this out of me. So like, I genuinely look forward to stuff that I can get excited about now.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's few and far between, but I try to notice it more now. I try to tell myself, okay, yeah, I'm enjoying this. Have a little smile on the inside and keep it moving. I still ain't gonna dance and no shit like that, Mo, but
well, we got you though. We got you a few weeks back though. My man is growing over here.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you, man.
Did you watch it? You ain't never get to watch it.
I still ain't got around to it, but you telling me and telling the listeners on air. That, you know, but I'll get around to it. But I did want to ask.
Rich got to witness it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw it.
I did want to ask Rich because I've been holding back this since you were sending the text messages about our show. But I had a few things I wanted to ask in that regard. So you come off to me as a person that, like Spike, you know, you're very particular in your taste. I mean, everybody can say, "Oh, I'm particular," everybody, but not really. People can go for the low hanging fruit, and they're easily impressed. Before our show, what was your favorite podcast?
Higher Learning. Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay.
Young Van and young Rachel.
And this is a TV review podcast, right?
No. This is just a everyday what's going on in the world, the shit you should really know about.
Oh, it's the other one.
Might not spend too much of your own time researching and kind of staying informed and from a black perspective, you know, politics, current events, all types of bullshit. It ranges, but I love the conversation that they have, and it's just authentic. I'm drawn to authenticity. If you can't, go ahead.
My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say you can't sell me bullshit. We know the prices, you know what I mean? So I can't do the fake. But do I rock with what?
I was gonna ask y'all, did y'all fuck with Van? As far as
I do. I'm a Van fan.
I was a Van fan, like around the Kanye moment, and then like when he had the Red Pill podcast, I was on that. I kind of fell off on it. I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but it was something. He didn't really do nothing. It wasn't, but when you put me on the prestigious TV and hearing him there, I was like, oh, yeah, it's perfect. I love this space. Yeah. I love hearing him talking this way. So yeah,
this is kind of like a maturation of his Red Pill podcast, the new one that he does, Higher Learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rachel would have a female perspective on it. But yeah, this is kind of like the next step that he would have done if he had kept doing the Red Pill. So I enjoy it too. I don't get to listen to it as much as I like to. I definitely enjoy it.
I want to ask, okay, so you still listen to Higher Learning, right?
Yes, yeah.
How do you transition from this is my favorite podcast, I got all I need, I got a black man, I got a black woman, she's black, right?
Right.
Okay, so I got all I need, black perspective from both. What'd you say?
She married to a Colombian.
Married to a white dude. Well, a Colombian. They always give us shit about it. Like recently, she was speaking on the.
Was she the one on Breakfast
Palmer? No.
Ah, that was different. Okay.
Who?
Van always on her case about it.
She was speaking on the Keke Palmer shit, and her fans and the people that listen to the show was like, "Yeah, how you gonna speak on it? You don't even like."
I know, bro. That's everything. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I'm like, just understand, like. Your words are important, but some things you got to fall back because of optics. That's optics.
That's
matter.
How you feel. Like if you were married to a white woman, you would feel that way?
Absolutely. Shut up. Remember, yeah, bro.
I don't think you have to be quiet. Now, whether or not somebody takes what you say with as much weight because of who's saying it, that's one thing. But I don't know if you should be silenced on it. She's still a black woman with black experiences. And that's not she's not exclusively dating. She married, a Colombian outside of her race, but she's dated
black dudes before.
So I would still say she'd had something to.
Okay, well let me change that because I never want to give the idea that silencing black women. What I'm saying is don't go into
like this podcast.
Right. Don't go into this. I feel like don't go into this space expecting a ton of reach. That's what I mean. Understand that because of how the optics are and how it's set up, Just understand that part. Don't speak your mind, speak your truth. Doesn't mean you're not relevant in that space, but understand the optics. Like it's going to be limited because of, I mean, your relationship. Like that's a part.
That's why people, when every time they get a chance, they remind her, look at who you married to. Like, stop talking to her.
girl.
So, you know, it's up to the crowd. The crowd definitely doesn't let her forget.
Nah,
you know,
but
she knows what it is.
Like don't you prepare for that as a black person married out of your race though? I think we know how our people are. So if you know, like, not to discredit love or anything, but I think that's like probably every race got to deal with that though. I said, married a black man, it's gonna be.
I don't know though, because you
don't think every race deal with it like we do? Nope.
Because we have to prepare for everything, because that's just how it's set up for us. We're on defense and everything. That's just how it's set up in this country. So I don't think that if we say, man, I don't know, bro, I can't even lie, she white, but I love her, bro, and I think we've been rocking and she held me down and this and that. I know it's unfamiliar.
That sounds crazy even saying though.
Yeah, dude, listen, like, you just hearing me talk about it, it's like, bro, like, these are the steps. And like, I gotta go ahead and let her meet moms. I know mom gonna wild out, but I love her, man. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And you go through all these steps. So once that happens, you know, then you understand what's going on. Like I feel like black, I mean, you know what really gets me, and I still got that question to ask you, Rich, but what really gets me is just how, like, certain black men they've crossed over, and then you want to be the loudest.
Crossed over is wild.
But hey, am I lying?
That's a
you crossed over, and now you want to be the loudest. Like, that be my issue. Like, hey, chill out, bro. Like, nah, you're not the one. Like, you're not
it's
the
funny
one.
because I got a lot of cousins who, you know, are in interracial relationships or marriages. So it's
a lot of more prominent voices in Black history were married to white women.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those dudes are married to white women.
Like
who? Keep talking, I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah, educate me. My ignorance.
Nah, there was somebody, because I remember Dr. Umar and Roland got into it about somebody. But either way,
the dude who Dr. Umar say he's ancestors of. I can't think of the man's name right now. Who do he say?
Is it Thurgood Marshall? Who is it that he says?
It's not. It's
W.E.B. Du Bois. I can't remember. Either way,
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, I'm not. And again, well, go ahead, Rich.
I was just saying, I'm thinking of the reactions from my family members, and it wasn't. I can't remember anything that was less than supportive. You know, people might have their jokes in the side at the beginning, but some of them, it's been so long where you don't even think about it. It's not a thing. But that doesn't mean that what they go through in public or whatever the case is, somebody always, you know, strangers.
Yeah, always. Like, yeah. I mean, and we're black people, we're a lot more open-minded than people give us credit for. To be honest, yeah, I think we're a lot more open-minded than people give us credit for.
Yeah, man. Think about the cookout. The premise of the cookout.
Facts.
Yeah, but we ain't gonna do that like that.
But no, what I'm saying is that alone lets you know, like, the premise that we are willing to just open people up because you can bring people in because you can do something cool or do something we've been doing for years.
Boy.
And just the fact that you're not black and you're doing it, you so cool, you get invited to the cookout. We so open to doing it, like
people.
I don't know, man. That's a whole other conversation for another
day. Because I was about to say, anyway, let me not even go there.
We ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Huh?
Frederick Douglass. That's
Frederick Douglass, yeah.
Wow, Frederick with the nap fro.
Frederick Douglass, yes, sir. Married to a white woman.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, there you have it. But Rich, I wanted to ask on that note, how do you go from, you've already been working with us. We work together. Now we are a team. We are the Good Earners. So we are a team. We've now built a brand in our Soprano TV review podcast. You already was rocking with Spike Lee. You rocking with us as a show. You identify more with Spike Lee. Let me say that, but you rock with both of us as black men, and you was rocking with it, and you're part of the show. You already listen to Higher Learning. That's your favorite podcast. At some point, you say, I'm going to check out Yall podcast. You come across our podcast. How does it even become your favorite? Because you're already getting your fix. Right.
So Higher Learning isn't another week in the books. Higher Learning is great because it keeps me informed on things, like I said earlier, that I might not normally be looking up in my day-to-day. You know, I try to make sure I read something every day, and I try to go to sites like NPR, Snopes, those kind of websites just to stay informed. Every morning, the first thing I listen to on my drive into work is Up First. It's an NPR podcast.
Shut
It's 15
up.
minutes.
Oh
Hey,
my
we are
God,
the same person.
y'all brothers.
Mine, I listen to mine is Start Here though. It's an ABC
Yeah.
News podcast. It's Start Here.
Just a little 15 minutes.
That's the
just
first
so
thing I do. I hit that. It's 12 minutes. Give me all the news of the day. Yeah.
13 minutes, bro. 13 minutes gives me 3 news stories, the top ones that I need to know, just to kind of get my brain going, be informed on what's going on in the world. So it's not just, you know, Twitter and all this stuff. I'm not a huge social media person anyway, but I just like to make sure I know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I first told you I was going to check out Another Week in the Books, and I think you told me to start with like chapter 38 or something like that. And I started it.
Hey, that was a grip ago.
Why would you tell somebody to start all the way back there?
Yeah, something.
I gotta remember what the episode was. I think it
you
was one of
guys
them
were-
episodes. Me and you were going back and forth, and I was like, "Nah, if you want to get like the personality of our show, where we both was making great points, it might have been that." Because I think I might have texted you at the time before he was even a part of the show,
that, yeah.
and I was like, "Bro, I know you didn't listen to it, but I was like, bro, this is one of those ones where we were going back and forth, and we both made such great points that you can bounce."
We were disagreeing about the child. I believe it was the child discipline or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was that. It was the curfew
discipline.
one that we had.
And the
Like,
curfew,
yeah, boy, that was beautiful. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't. I actually didn't even finish that episode. I started it and got caught up in some other stuff and didn't finish it. And then we had done. I don't even know if I was fully on Good Earners yet, but I was like, let me go back to Another Week in the Books. You guys, it's been a few weeks, maybe a month. You dropped some more episodes. And when I listened to it and just gave it my undivided attention, I could hear like you guys say, the elevated conversations that's needed. And I'm like an intellectual. I want to learn more. I accept or I invite disagreement because it helps me learn. I never look at conflict like an issue or confrontation as an issue. Confrontation might be a little different, but people disagreeing is just a conversation. You know, emotions and your feelings takes it somewhere else. If you can check all of that and just have a conversation, then that's cool. And I take all my emotions out the door because I want to make it a comfortable space for you to be open about who you actually are and me to understand it better and then decide, all right, cool. Like, or now I'm cool on you. I don't really rock with it. So when I hear conversations that take place like that, and you and Spike, you know, I listened just yesterday, I was listening to the anniversary podcast, and you guys mentioned on there about episodes 18 and 19. And that's the famous homework disagreement. and you know, we've said it before, man, me and Spike really relate personality-wise. So I understood everything Spike was saying, but I also understood where you were coming from, Mo. Even though I disagreed with it, I do understand because Spike was actually right. The purpose is to make good content. That conversation that you had, because Spike only decided to listen to 15 minutes, was great content. I would rather hear that versus, I wasted an hour and a half. I don't try to hear that shit again, blah, blah, blah. It just wouldn't have been as deep. He wouldn't have been able to give a real perspective because he doesn't care. If he's like me for real, if you don't care about it, you ain't gonna care enough to dig deep. And I'm gonna give you the bare minimum. All right, get out my face. Like, cool. I watched it. Here's my thoughts.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm smart enough
see
to
y'all
make it
next
sound
week.
like I'm interested, and boom, we can keep it moving.
So Spike was right in that regard, but here's where he was wrong because we didn't.
You got to get that off. You got to make sure you got that.
Dig it up.
Make sure I know.
Because we didn't. We had a different understanding of what that purpose of that segment was, and that's where you had the idea. It's like, find me, I'm out now. Trash the dog. Move on. You know what I mean? It's like we didn't have a proper understanding of what it was, so that's where it warranted that reaction on my end. However,
it was a communication thing.
Yeah, definitely communication.
And that's cool.
Thing. But man, go ahead. My bad. Sorry.
It spawned. That's cool because not only did it have that moment, but it spawned a whole nother episode.
Yeah. Because
I'm sure you guys were able to talk off mic. Spike did something that I would do. Hit up hey, listen to this, or let me tell you about something that happened. Am I tripping? Like, what did I handle that in the right way? So it gave that time to process it, and then that's a real conversation we need to have as Black men. Conflict resolution. It doesn't always have to go to that level. Like, you know,
let's
and
throw
it's cool
let's
to
throw hands, or let's shoot. Like, you're right.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that myself. Just wanting to take it there, and it's like, hold on, man, this ain't even that deep. But real quick, just to wrap it up.
It's the principle, though.
It's really
it's the principle.
Relax.
To wrap up my long-winded answer, I started listening, and it seemed like right at the time of my life where I needed to hear certain topics that y'all were talking about, I was hearing, support. What was the one y'all did before that? The one with Kiki.
The mind,
I had the Kiki
mentality
conversation. Mentality, support, all of that. I needed that in my, at that moment. The support episode, the mentality episode, or excuse me, not the support, but the mentality episode particularly, I was having like a self-fatigue moment. Recording a lot and just kind of getting tired of hearing yourself, getting tired, questioning, am I still making an impact? Am I still even good at this? Do I feel like
I got anything important to say?
Am I just talking into a microphone right now? And you just kind of get in that moment and hearing y'all talk about mentality and just switching it, and followed up by support the next week, and getting, that same week when I was still feeling that way, we were getting comments about, oh man, this episode was dope. Like, I really love this, and out of nowhere. And it just, everything was happening at the same time. So getting to know y'all better as well, and know, I think one of the reasons this works so well is because how different you are. Like, it wouldn't be the same if it was me and Spike, because we are very similar. I love the fact that you two have two different points of view. You're 7 years apart, 8 years apart, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a generation gap. But you're still able to have adult conversations, because we don't talk about that enough either. Like, reaching down to the next generation. I don't. Every black man should have an OG, and if you qualify, you should be an OG.
Yeah,
like, that's a straight up fact. But all of that tied in, man. I just thought it was authentic and real and needed, and you weren't talking about dumb shit. One of my favorite things is when Spike asked why. I wish more podcasts and more people just did that. Ask that simple question: why? What do you mean by that? Why do you feel that way? Just dig deeper until you get to the root of it. Because we keep everything so surface as black men, man. We talk about the game, we talk about music, we talk about whatever.
Man, she thick. Great, bro.
Exactly, man.
Right,
so it's
man,
not
have a good night.
Exactly, man. So it's not too often that you get into, and the funny thing is, once one person starts, I did this with my friends, and this is another thing me and Spike got in common. I've had the same group of friends since I was 9 years old, so we all know each other very, very well. And we were having a conversation one day. It was three of us. I started opening up about some stuff, and that made everything else comfortable. So now he started opening it up, and now he started opening it up. And by the time we look at each other like, damn, that was a good ass conversation. We texting about it the next day, like, just being open and vulnerable and being intentional about having these conversations. Because if you're not, then it's going to stay surface.
Yes.
So the fact that you guys are intentional about this podcast and these conversations, it lets people like me open up into that space more and question my actions, question what I'm doing. Am I being the best version of myself, the best version of the black man, everything else? So that was, bruh. The fact that I'm still talking lets you know how dope this shit is, man.
Thank you for that answer. And I appreciate that long-winded answer. And credit to Mo. I think a lot of this works because, like, Rich, you and I are like, I can go into my shell, my corner, I can be cool with it. It's fine. One of the things that Mo has helped me with in doing this show is understanding that, like, you have to really ask an extra question to be patient with people who didn't come up or don't think like you. And it don't mean that they disagree with you. It don't mean that they diminishing what you're saying. It's just like, I don't think that way, bro. And you haven't said anything that makes me think that way. So being patient enough to be like, well, let me add more context to what I'm saying. You're absolutely right. Those are the conversations that we want to push forward with Another Weeks in the Book. Like us being able to be like, well, wait a minute. Let me dig a little deeper into this and let's really have a in-depth personal conversation and not be scared of it. I was telling y'all before we start recording about West Wing being slowly one of my favorite shows now. That's one of the main reasons for it. Every character on the show is in conflict with one another, but it's never a shouting match. It's never emotional. It's like, we're all really good at what we do. I'm going to give you my expert opinion. I'm going to take yours. I may give a little jab or whatnot because we have that type of relationship, and we're going to keep it moving, be productive, and get shit done. There's no need for us to like, all right, we got to go outside, or I don't fuck with this nigga no more. No, I got my point off. You got your point off. Best point wins. And we still cool. We can go grab a drink, get dinner, whatever afterwards. But at least we got that conversation. We were able to push each other to be the best that we could be. That's the focus of this. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thank y'all.
Man, thank you. And I want to ask lastly, and we'll go into our, Carlee Russel conversation, but This might be a little longer than the normal ones, but we've been due for it for a while. But
We're having fun, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're having fun. I used to listen to a podcast. Shouts out to Eric Dizzy, but there was a podcast called Ignorant Philosophy, and that was the first podcast that had that effect on me, like what it sounds like we have on you, where it's like y'all making me think about some stuff in a whole different way, but y'all getting it off in like such a non-preachy way. Y'all getting it off in such a like a matter of fact, like, and moving on, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all getting it off. And so with that being said, I wanted to ask, just from a producer to consumer standpoint, when you go back to listen to the old episodes, does it feel dated, or what does that feel like? Because you wasn't on the start of it. So I'm very curious to this. Most people don't go back and listen to old episodes. And I think that me and Spike being intentional about the chapters, like we're looking at it like this, however long it takes or whatever it be, when we get to our final chapter, this should be a body of work that people can go back to chapter 1, chapter 38, chapter 24. You know, that is the intent of the show. But you being one of the first people that are vocally in front of us, what is that like? Just going back to different chapters that maybe
So the beauty in y'all show is that it can't be dated because the topics aren't dated. These are things that we're always going to have to deal with day by day, generation by generation. These things are never going to go away. It's not like we talking about BlackBerry, y'all talking about Blackberries and dial-up internet. You know what I mean? If that was about your pod, then that's different. But these are real, genuine topics, and they need to, even if you need to revisit it. Okay, let's say I'm struggling with mentality. I can go back and revisit that mentality episode and kind of maybe reshift. It's no different than an affirmation or listening to a favorite song that gets you motivated. You giving them that's how I view it. It's the same type of way. And I know it was intentional, but it wasn't. The fact that you guys didn't know each other when you started this, right? There's something to be said about listening to y'all figure shit out in real time. You know, it's really, it's cool for me.
People have told me that's their favorite thing about it.
Yeah, it's because you guys are in real time. What's up, Spike?
People that know, I said 3 or 4 people have said that same thing, especially people that know me and know how like my tendencies are.
So what they looking at me like this nigga trying to figure it out. Are they laughing at me?
No, like
they laughing
it's 2
at me.
people.
Nah.
Yeah, it's 2 people just that don't have similar in some ways, different in many other ways. Both have a tremendous amount of respect as from black man to black man. So if this was just you two bumped into each other at the bar, the conversation wouldn't be the same. It's like, all right, I know enough on the surface level. I got this respect. I am going to hear him out and really listen and try to figure out. I'm someone who listens to understand and comprehend. I don't listen to respond. I really want to know and understand where you're coming from and who you are. Like, I care about that stuff because that helps me maneuver and help you be your best version of yourself. I play a role now to help you be your best version. If I know something upsets you, I'm not going to do that. Like that's pulling something out of you that's being detrimental. I'm going to make sure, all right, Mo reacts to this like this. I'm going to make sure I don't do that. I'm going to make sure I don't say that because I don't even want to take it there. I want to make sure his mentality straight, everything. Like, it's just respect. You don't owe everybody that, but because that respect is there, I'm going to make sure I adhere to that. And now that makes you more open, more comfortable. So you can be more free because you know Spike ain't going to bite your head off. If you say something to someone, you say something to your girl and she snap on you, I ain't never bringing that shit up again. You feel me? Like, I'm not even going through that shit again. I'm going to figure out another way to deal with it, or I'm going to break up, whatever it is.
Facts.
But if you sit down with your girl and you have a real conversation and you can understand each other and where you're coming from, and you realize, like, damn, one conversation fixed all this.
Yeah, we were both just on
now we on the same page and everything cool. I thought it, because in our heads we tell ourselves it's going to be deeper than what it is.
Yeah.
But once you find that matchup, and that's how y'all are, y'all have found that match of, I want to hear more, I want to learn more, still not being afraid to disagree. So
and that's rare for us, for black men. Like, that's very rare for us to get to the point in a relationship where you like, you know what, I really just want to hear what you got to say. I ain't listening to respond or anything. Just tell me what you mean. I think like adopting that thought process more as black men, that helps us out so much more, because then you get a full understanding. And this nigga done been through similar experiences than I have, probably looks at life in a similar way, has dealt with some of the similar stuff. Though we're not the same, I would still like to know what someone who isn't like me, but is like me, what do they think? I love asking people that question now. Like, what do you think?
So here's an example. So I just told y'all on the Culture Garden podcast, my co-host, we dropped Above the Rim today. My favorite scene in that entire movie is when Birdie and Shep are at their mom's gravesite. When we first find out they brothers and all of that. The reason that's my favorite scene is because it gives Birdie a heart. Yes, Birdie's a thug. He's a drug dealer. He's causing harm in his community. But that scene alone lets me know why he is the way he is. So now I have a lot better understanding. Whether I agree or disagree with how he's moving,
at least
part of me mourns for the young Birdie, because he didn't want to be this way. He wanted to have a big brother and somebody to look out. He couldn't see his mama crying in the dark with no electricity, no food. I got to do something about this, and it's on me. When you in that spot, how you gonna judge it? Sophie's choice moment, right? So what you gonna do? So the fact that they show something like that and give that character a heart like that versus just being some thug in the street causing havoc, I understand that and I appreciate that. You know, so it goes to what Spike was just saying. When you have that understanding, it at least helps you control your reaction. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, in the Carlee Russell shit, but yeah, mentality and taking the time to know that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story.
I've always been that way. Now that I've always been. It didn't matter when I was in school, the little nerdy white dude. I've always been like an equal footing person with people. I've just always been that way. So I totally.
I've always been like extra inquisitive of the weird dude that ain't nobody talks to. The janitor, you know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers make fun of. Like, I've always been like, me too. What he got going on?
I could in high school, I could sit at any lunch table I wanted to.
Facts.
That's tight.
And be cool with it. Like, I was just one of, it wasn't just one group. I didn't want to live like that either. Like, I knew at a young age that in life I'm going to be interacting with a whole bunch of people. Like, so let me at least learn learn more about them. And then you find out some cool shit about them. Like, oh shit, they open up your eyes to some stuff.
That speaks to reputation.
It's funny how people react to that though, based off stuff that you like. I know when we're going to talk about reputation and respect. And I had this thing like it's about my shoes. I love them to be clean. I like nice clothes and shit. People will assume that you're a certain type of way because of like what you got on, how you dress, what they see that you like. And then once they understand, like you saying, Richard, like you saying, Mo, like I can sit at any lunch table, I can talk to you about anything. It ain't got to be about shoes or high-end clothes or anything like that. They're really taken aback and be like, oh, damn, I ain't really I thought that you were this way, just based off of the perception or what you hold yourself to. So I think they said really interesting.
It's still a beautiful. I still get off on blowing people's mind in regard to perception. Can I finish first, bro? You throw the flag out early. Can I finish the play? I'm still in the pocket. I ain't even tossed the ball to the receiver. Golly,
that's nuts.
I'm saying, man.
Y'all ain't even let me finish cooking. Y'all wild, man. Dang.
You gotta get to that finish line a little quicker, man.
Y'all 24-second shot clock over here.
Bro. Like, you got a phrase like that. You got to get to it, bro.
Right.
Y'all wild.
You can't just leave that in the air. I get off. Pause.
Like I get off and that's it. I can't even. Y'all wild, boy. Oh man. Oh man, go ahead.
Hold on, let me ask you real quick. Well, I'm sorry. I got to cut in and ask y'all this. I see this from time to time, and I want to get y'all opinion. What do you feel about when people say you too old or you immature to be playing the pause game?
Pause game. I was just about to say that once Mo got his thought off. Somebody hit me with that. You still do that? Like, it's fun.
It's funny.
But acting like it ain't fun and it ain't funny, dude. I hate when people try to be so serious. I mean, I am a rather serious person. People tell me that all the time. But like, that's fun. That's one of the fun things that you do, and people usually laugh at it. Like, it ain't.
Yeah. We just had a moment where we just cracked up. And it ain't even gotta be paused. I'm like, whoa. Yo,
Yeah, like, hey, yo, like, my look,
yo.
bro.
That,
I get this. I do that with my dad. Like, you know how funny my dad when I get him, I'm like, hey man, whoa, man. Like my sister is in on it. So my sister is so in on the pause. Like if it's so flagrant, she'll just flat out be like, dude, you're gay. Like she'll just flat out do that. I'm like, shut up, bro. Like my sister is so in on the loop with it. So and for those that if we do have like gay listeners or whatever, it's not about making fun of because you're gay. It's more of making fun of like we do with like we talk about Vito Spatafor from Sopranos. It's not the fact that you're gay. It's the fact that how you tiptoe around these things and these behaviors that you're doing that makes it funny. Like, you know,
And
so
some shit just crazy to say.
it just be crazy. It's hilarious.
It's fun to check.
Yeah,
Like, hey, the
origin of pause wasn't even on that. It was just you just said some wild shit.
Yeah, you
that
just
shit
said
was
some
wild.
super flagrant.
Yo,
bro.
I feel like you know what would be interesting. I feel like if there's like, and I guess it may not work, but like there's gay people and they said something that was like straight, like I feel like somebody be like, hey, yo, like if somebody come up with
there's there's a white man version of this. The pause.
What is it?
That's what she said. Famous from The Office.
I still use that. I mean, I still use that.
Yeah, but that's their version.
That's their version. That's the gentrified version almost.
That's not
it
really,
doesn't
but that's
mean
still
the
hetero.
same thing, but it's still it's
hetero.
hetero.
That's what I'm saying. Pause ain't necessarily even gotta be anything else. It's just I said some wild shit.
You said something crazy. And just like with that's what she said, you just flip it into like that could have been crazy. Like if she said that. Same thing. I look at that as the white people version of that.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, I ain't mad.
Mainstream with The Office and shit like that.
Yeah, it's just reacting. That's sudden. The one thing about pause is that sudden instinct. It's like you hear it and you automatically the first thing come to your mind is pause. Just like Michael Scott couldn't wait to blurt that shit out in The Office. That's what she said.
Exactly. Same thing. That's what
it's just said. That same. You said something so crazy. I gotta respond with this because that's the game. That's part of the game. We don't mean nothing by it.
It don't mean anything.
I got something.
It's just like, oh, this is funny.
I got something for y'all. Y'all eat Chinese food?
Yeah.
All right. Next time you get a fortune cookie, I seen this on 90210. Next time you get a fortune cookie, read what the fortune says and then put 2 words on it. Put in bed after you read whatever your fortune is. It's so funny, bro. I didn't even know this was a thing. This is how you know white people expose you to stuff you don't even know. I'm like, and they all read their fortune cookie. It was so hilarious, bro. So yeah, next time if y'all can remember that, like, yeah, that's
all right, I'm gonna do it.
I couldn't get into 90210.
Well, I appreciate you
too
trying.
long ago, but yeah, I tried a couple episodes.
That first season is rough, so if you can't get through that, it's gonna be.
You talking about the OG 90210 or the one with Michael Lee?
The OG.
the OG.
The OG, yeah.
Okay.
But you want to bring us in on this Carlee Russel story?
Man. If y'all have been listening, y'all know this is another week in the books. Before we get into our theme for the week, reputation and respect, which is chapter 52. Shout out to Mo. For the production of it, we want to talk about a couple of things that happened out there in the zeitgeist this week. And one of the biggest stories is Carlee Russel. Carlee Russel called 911 about a week ago or so, and she told the police that she seen a 2-year-old toddler walking down the interstate. And she got out on the phone still when she was with her mom after she called the police. And they said she tried to find the toddler, and she went up missing. Nobody could find her for 2 days. Nobody knew where she was. Nobody knew what happened. They did a search team. They were looking for her. 2 days later, she popped back up at her mom's doorstep, said she had been abducted. Now, we're not here to guess or whatever it may be on where she was or what she was doing, but I do think that the reaction was funny. And I really wanted to know what you thought, Mo, when you said that black people take everything as a joke. You kind of took stabs at, you kind of took stabs at how people were talking about with the submarines. And I mean, as soon as I found out that the story that there may be some shaky shit with it because it's coming out now, that all of this may have been a hoax. That she may have just been gone somewhere for 2 days and just popped back up. I'm not saying that this happened, allegedly, though. The police also believe that this was a stage thing and it was set up. So, of course, Black Twitter went crazy. The memes, the stuff that's out there as far as her disappearing and popping back up are insane. Mo, I'll start with you, and then we'll continue the conversation from there. Did you hear about this, being that you ain't a big news dude? Did this come across your radar? And did you see some of the reaction once she got back, and what'd you think about that?
Did not come across my radar.
You did not know who this was when I put this in the notes?
Absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Oh, that makes sense. Wow, when I said Carlee Russell and you said, who was that?
Bro.
And I'm like,
you were texting him about
that
it.
makes sense.
Yeah, he was like, man, 'cause I was texting him about the show, and then
Mo don't pay attention to no news, bro. You got to bring it to his attention. That nigga do not look at the news.
Bro, I gotta protect my, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta protect my mental. Like, for me, in the words of Bobby Bacala, like, I could be morbid. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely be a morbid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you don't feel like you missed stuff though.
I don't feel like
if someone that came up to you at your new job that you just got. How's it going, by the way? Job good?
It's going good. Yes.
Good. Love to hear.
I'm working my ass off.
Love to hear that. I mean, they need you. If someone was to come up to you, black person, come over to you at the job, like, man, what do you think about this Carlee Russel situation? You wouldn't feel like less than in any sense that you didn't know what the fuck they was talking about?
Nah, bro, because I'm so dope, bro. Like, that's how I look. I'm so dope. I have so much skill and talent, bro. Like, because I don't know this kind of what we talk about. That's how I look at myself, because I actually put the work in on what I do. So I look at myself, I'm naturally dope. If you start asking questions, you'll start to find out the type of person I am and what I can do.
So what's your reaction? What's your reaction when someone comes up to you with a story like this and you don't know about it? Do you ask them more? Do you not?
I'd be like, I'm not familiar. I'd be like, I'm not familiar. What happened?
So did you look this up? My bad.
You strike me as I was gonna say, you just strike me as they tell you what happened and you just, oh damn, that's crazy, and walk away. Like, do you ask more questions?
Take a sip of his coffee and just be like, I'm putting my headphones back in and listen to Drake now. Like, I don't care.
This guy, you're Drake. Your Drake D is crazy right? over here. Not really, not anymore. Though. Not anymore.
I thought
though.
That was your man.
He was my man's. He really was. But like,
that ain't your favorite rapper?
Not anymore. No, I don't even have a favorite rapper now. At this very moment in life,
I don't either.
Hey man,
I had this conversation not too long ago.
Man, I got to talk to y'all about.
I was too old to have a favorite rapper.
Nah, you ain't nice. But man, I man, y'all sauced me too on deck, man. But I talked to you about that off air.
Okay.
So
when you look, did you seen it on the rundown? You knew we were going to talk about it. Did you look it up at all?
I did look it up. Yes, I looked up the story. I looked up the new information as far as could it be Flodge.
Flodge, that's
fine. It's a hard call for me. It's a hard call.
Hold on. You think what? All right, so let me just ask you this way. What percentage would you say she's telling the truth versus what percentage you think she made this up?
See, this is so surface for me, bro. I don't know this young lady, so I don't know how.
No. I'm sorry. Just based off, just like the dude that had the press conference.
I think if she was still missing, I'm all the way there. The fact that she pops up, it may be 60-40, 60 being 60 Flodge, 40 being some truth there.
40% that she may have been telling.
Hold on. Let me. All right. Before I even say anything, let me start by saying this.
I'm glad you
love.
So I won't
love and respect
on this episode.
Are you gonna do that anyway? What you gonna do that anyway? Why you acting different today? You know how you do.
I'm just glad I got company this time.
Oh, okay.
Listen, man, hold on. I gotta start by this, and this is very important.
Yes,
love and respect to Black women, man.
Mm-hmm.
The plight that Black women go through on a day-to-day basis, and the fact that they aren't given the opportunity, all the missing Black women, how much it takes and how much the overall mass public disregards their safety and everything like that. I want to just send love and respect to that, because the details alone, when I heard them, took me back to Jussie Smollett, where the details just didn't make sense. The fact that it was a Black woman had me concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that I treated it the same way. I was concerned because I know how that goes. Mm-hmm. It broke my heart that a Black woman was missing.
Mm-hmm.
But just from I saw a baby on the highway in a diaper.
Mm.
That part alone, even though I knew she was still missing, that part alone was just on some. That's a little bit wild.
That's some scary.
But
movie shit, man.
look though, ain't trafficking itself is wild, right?
Trafficking itself is wild.
So it's just the only reason I'm
real.
saying it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's real. So it's like, to me, I'm like, as wild as that is, I'm like, yo, I can kind of see that happening. I can see that being bait.
You can see someone setting a trap with a child walking down the highway.
These are traffickers. Absolutely. You're trafficking humans.
And you're saying that that's a proven, you think that
no, not proven
method where they like,
no proof. I don't know.
We put this kid out here, somebody gonna stop.
Not proven, but it's so wild when I've seen these stories like, hey, they putting these type of poisons on your door handle. Hey, they're putting these flyers in your window because they got this. Hey, I keep seeing these things of how they get the kidnapping women. So for me, I don't know y'all play. Y'all on some evil, obviously, but I don't know y'all play. But it wouldn't have surprised me if that was the play because your disregard. And I'm not just talking about grown trafficking. I'm talking about kid trafficking. So it wasn't like, for me, it was like, wasn't like, oh my, no way.
Hold on, Bo. Hold on, man.
What?
You're speaking of this as if these people were real.
I'm going by
with the information that we have. I'm not, like I said.
What information do we have?
I hope this young woman is okay. Like mentally, I hope she gets all the help she needs. I'm laughing, but I don't want to make a joke of her mental being and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I was gonna bring it back to this, Mo. Okay. How your answer lets me know you don't know all the details that have been found out since she's come home.
Okay.
Tell him. Yeah.
Tell me the details. I followed up with I seen the interview of the police officer just saying like how far she traveled, 600 yards, and how they were saying maybe there was not a real child and all this. So just enlighten me on the details.
Did you hear about what she told the police once she got home?
I didn't get that. The update I had was they hadn't spoken yet.
Did you hear the 911 call?
I heard a little bit of it. The
911 call, did that concern you at all? Mo, you were a father of a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
About to be hopefully a young boy. I know you're shooting for a boy. Congratulations to you.
Come on. Thank you, sir.
As a father or even as a decent human being, if you were driving on the highway right now and you see a kid by themselves, there's no car with hazards on it nowhere. There's nobody walking around. You just see a baby in a diaper.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that's just wild to say. But you just see a baby traveling 6 football lengths. Are you calling 911 with that same temperament?
See, that's the part that is shaky. The 600 yards is like, that's the shaky.
That's
part.
6 football fields. That's 6 stadiums.
That's what the dude said. So that's where the shakiness for me is like, okay.
If there was a car with hazards on and the baby seemed like it got away, that would make more sense to me. I would even give a little bail there.
Mm-hmm.
But how did this, like, my first question is, how did this baby get here? I'd automatically be on P's and Q's. Bro. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, when you walk in a room and shit just don't seem right. It don't look right. Something doesn't make sense here.
But y'all know, man, y'all being logical brothers as y'all are, y'all know we're getting to a place that things are not making sense. We can't. And don't get me wrong, this is cap. We can see it's probably cap, but we can't display that everything's gonna make sense. We're seeing more and more that it makes zero sense so much that we be like, bro, we can't even make this up. So that's
fair. That's fair.
And sometimes us as men, we don't really understand. It's just to shoot a little bit of bail, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never forget a friend of mine that I was messing with back in Nashville a long time ago. She was like, we went to the store to pick up some shit before we were headed to the house. It was about 11:40, 11:50 at night. And we know how hood stores are. You got motherfuckers out in the front, hey man, can I get this? Hey man, shoot me a couple dollars on gas. Like it's activity going on. So this chick not being familiar with that, I went in the store to grab what we needed. And I came back and it was a whole like woman in the car, a junkie. Bro, I was so mad. She was like, oh, well, she just wants us to run her up the street really quick. And she said that she said that she just needed to go up the street and then she ran out of gas. Well, I was on fire. And I was like, you did what? But she was driving. I ran in the store and like it was really, yeah, like she was driving. So the woman came up, ran game on her while I was in the store, and we ended up taking the woman a couple blocks. Of course, she get there. Hey, I need a couple. Pull off.
Hey man, ride out.
Bro, I dropped the dude off. My daddy laugh about this story, bro. But anyway, go ahead.
And that's the thing that, and that's the thing that I wanted to get to. Some people we know, like, no, I ain't buying it. Like, I was just talking about this at the barbershop yesterday. I would have seen the baby there and I would have called the police, but there's no way that I would have stopped. Just in the sense of like, okay, something got to be up. It ain't no way that a baby is out here on the road. I'm the only nigga that had seen it, and I'm gonna be the nigga that stopped and cut. Like, nah, I'll call the police and I hope the kid is okay. And when they asked me, yeah, it was like 3-4 miles back. I kept going, bro. There's a baby out there on the interstate. I ain't stopping nothing.
Get out there ASAP.
Yeah, but there are some people to like that will do that just because they, for lack of a better word, they green. So I could see her seeing that if that did happen to her, being like, okay, well, let me stop, because it's happened to me before with a woman picking up a junkie. So I get that part of it, but what I don't understand is the rest of it. Like, what was the goal? What was she trying to get to? And even in the return from it.
So what's the conclusion, basically? What?
So all right. So she made up. Well, let me stop. That's not fair. She told the officers that she was abducted by a white male with red hair with a bald spot. She said that she was blindfolded in the back of a truck, not a pickup truck, but like a box truck. There was a woman. She was blindfolded, so she couldn't see any of this. But there was a woman, and she heard a baby crying. She said they fed her cheese crackers. She escaped once. Don't know how, no description on how she escaped, but she escaped once. They found her, brought her back. She escaped again. All right. What's again? Mo ain't have all the info. She escaped again.
I'm glad that you're here, Rich. I'm so glad. Because you're telling this story way better than I could.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, mind you, these dudes ain't do nothing. All they did to her was blindfold her. She specifically said they did not bound my wrist because they didn't want to leave marks. I don't know what abductor is that considerate where they don't want to leave marks.
Right.
But they didn't. All they did was blindfold her, which I don't know why you just don't take the blindfold off, but that's neither here nor there. Because she was making that shit up on the fly, from what it sounds like to me. Just using the facts. Like I said, in her head, we never know what's going on. We never know what mental state she's in. I hope she really gets the help she needs. But she ends up coming home, knocks on the door, and says she's been abducted. Now, mind you, her Google searches how to steal money from a cash register without getting caught.
Now, this is the flagrant part that I really didn't like, though.
Yeah, and this is all the day of or the night before.
Not from her.
The movie Taken. How much does it cost to get an Amber? Does it cost to have an Amber Alert?
Yeah, I've seen that part of the.
So you're seeing all of that. Did you see that she left her crib? She left work.
Yeah, she grabbed a robe.
She grabbed a robe and toilet paper. I done worked at a lot of jobs. I ain't never been that hard pressed where I just had to take toilet paper out the job.
That's a big fact. I probably took one.
Especially when you go to Target and you get snacks. If I'm going to Target and get snacks, I'm just going to get some toilet paper.
Grab some toilet paper.
While I'm there. None of it from the facts, they just don't make sense. And allegedly, I don't know how true this is, she did this for the attention of her boyfriend.
Yeah, that's what they say. This was some other.
So let's have a different conversation. Let's have a different conversation. Who is this on? As far as their relationship, like who is this on? Is this just
between the relationship between the girlfriend and her? I mean, the boyfriend and her?
Yeah. And I don't mean
can't answer that.
No. And I mean, I don't mean like who's it on. I mean, she did all this is on her, but I mean, how much can you chalk this up as you're crazy versus chalking this up as this guy you're with is just flat out not.
Let me piggyback. let me piggyback.
Like, because I'm like,
really quickly, because there is a more important conversation to be had without making fun of her. I hope she's okay. Like we said, is it fair? Because we're not dumb. Nobody on this podcast is dumb. A lot of people out there are dumb, but a lot of smart people out there as well.
Yeah.
Is it fair to ridicule her based off the facts that we have? That's my question. That's what I would like to know from you two respectable guys. Because she's been going through hell in a handbasket, and I'm sure it's hard for her to do anything. And knowing that it sounds like a lot to this point, knowing that it seems far-fetched and she looks like the bad guy, is the reaction from the Black community fair? Like we are people that were quick to call out bullshit. We'll be like, nah, that don't smell right, bruh. And there were people that were saying this at the very beginning when this post went up. Not to no credit to them, and I don't believe in the 100% conspiracy theory niggas that think everything is a conspiracy.
Yeah, no.
However, now that we're presented with the facts, there are people that are like, I told you this shit didn't sound right, and it's almost being celebrated, and being made a mockery of. Is that fair to her?
I'll jump in first. The people reacting, I think if you reacted in an anger, from a place of anger, due to the fact that there are so many missing Black women, and we have a case, everything that you ask people to do, share it. There's the outcry. There's the search. I don't even know if there was a search, honestly. She came home. I don't know how that transpired, but I'm assuming there would be.
Popped up on her mom door stuff.
Yeah, I'm assuming there would be. If you're angry from that sense that resources were wasted, and I've seen a lot of people say, we're in fear that they might not take the next one seriously. I can understand that. I think you are justifiable in that. If you are just celebrating, as you said, Spike, and just proving the fact that you were right that the story was fake, I think that needs to wrap up.
Facts.
I don't think that there's anything to gain from that. It's just no different than the Jussie Smollett situation, like I said earlier. Yes, the story is wild. So when I tell that story, I'm laughing just because the facts of it are wild. If somebody just came on the street and told me that, I'm like, yo, what are you on? But pouring on, because obviously the first thing I said to myself is she's not in her, something's going on.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if it's mentally, something is going on with her. I hope that sister's okay.
Yeah.
Piling on in the sense of memes, jokes isn't going to help. Her Twitter is still public as of this afternoon. I'm sure she's not on it, but I'm sure it's, it was still public. I don't think that's good. But I'm also I understand that these jokes are going to get off.
Yeah.
The same thing when y'all talked about the submarine thing. The reason I choose to participate or not. And that's kind of how I look at it, because I know I can't do anything to stop it. So when you wake up and you see the memes about stuff that you don't think people should be joking about, yeah, you're probably right. But all I can do is log out and not pay attention, because otherwise I can't prevent people from making this. It's going to keep happening. It's going to have this cycle like everything else, and then it's on to the next. So I think they need to lay off of her, because I think she doesn't need any more of this, even though she did some nut shit.
Yeah, and that's my thing. It's like you're not stepping in being like the social media police when we talk about the submarine or even this. It's like I'm gonna jump in these comments with 1,000 comments like, hey, everybody stop. Like, no, I'm not saying that, but you have a choice as well. Like, you can choose to move at a different vibration level, like you said. So for me, with her and even the submarine situation, just because everybody's doing it, what if everybody, like the classic phrase, everybody going off a cliff, you gonna join? I'm not doing that. Like, you know what I mean? So
I'm like,
I ain't doing that. Like, I ain't doing that, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Everybody trying to go viral, man.
Yeah,
everybody's trying to go viral. They want to put the comment out there
that
everybody else is gonna post.
That's all it is. I don't think they really interested or even beyond. They just trying to. It's a rat race.
They look at real life stories as like TV characters. This is TV characters to them. Like, you don't cross paths in my real life when I'm off the internet. So you are reachable in regards to content. You're not a real person to me. You're literally like virtual reality. That's how people treat social media. This is virtual reality.
This is like what a lot of the Black Mirror episodes are based on, though.
Yeah.
Like we've come to a point in our society where, again, we don't know her thought process. We don't know if it was real or it's fake. We don't know if she fabricated it, set it up, whatever. However, she's put herself, or she's in the position now where it ain't even about that anymore. It's about the reaction to the viral moment. People responding to your tweets. What's your next employer gonna say? Like they pulling up her AKA pictures when she bought her car. Like it's all type of shit online now that just you wouldn't have had access for or access of before this happened. And you wonder if it was fake, if this was her just trying to get away for 2 days or whatnot, was it worth it for her now? Because now, like you're forever, like you're infamous now. And is that worth it? Like, is that worth you having to go live in fucking Idaho or Iowa and take another name and people not knowing who you are based off what some bullshit that you had conjectured in your head for 2 days?
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully that sister find her way, but it's just another story. It's just another day on the internet, bro. Like for me, it's just
I think it's my fault.
Sadly, every day is becoming just another day on the internet.
Yes, unfortunately.
That's what we need to avoid as a people.
Yeah, but
it's just the hoax part of it, man. I think if it wasn't such a real issue, like what she faked is something that really happens.
Right.
Because black girls disappearing, people don't pay attention to it.
Right.
Facts.
And I think that's the big thing about it.
I got
a
question for y'all.
Stick. I think she would be able to bounce back a little bit better if it was something else. Like I said, even the Jussie Smollett thing, I think people are off that. Like, yes, you're gonna make your joke still, but I don't think that's something that's gonna stain him and he's gonna walk around and have to live with that. You gotta live with the comments. But it's not as serious. You did that to yourself versus it looks like she did this to harm many other black women. If they're ever in that situation or whatever the case is. And I want to say allegedly, even though I'm 98% sure that she fabricated all of this.
But that speaks to what I was talking about last week. I was like,
we don't know.
You don't know where you don't know where you're at. And now the extreme level is going crazy. Like I talk about when you go through your life, we all been in our 20s. You don't know where you at in that moment. You turned up, you live, you everything until you get older. At our age now, you're like, bro, what was I thinking? And now the extreme level has turned up because of the generation we in. If she's blessed to be able to not have to do time for this, she's going to look back at this like, bro, where was I at? Look at the extreme level I took it to. Just to be, I'm just playing. You know what I'm saying?
I think the only thing she could even get charged with is like the fake 911 call if they determine that.
Awesome.
Which, like I said, it doesn't help her case that it doesn't help her case that a baby was a baby in a diaper was on the highway, 6 football fields, and nobody else called.
Nobody.
You get a car crash. If a car crash happens right now, there's gonna be 20 people calling it in. If they see a baby, they're gonna lose their mind.
If a motherfucker driving drunk.
But look,
just suspect, hey man, somebody driving crazy. People call 911.
Yeah, people do. But let me ask y'all this. I've been thinking about this for a grip. I wanted to talk a little. I may hold off on the toxicity conversation because I do want to talk about that, but I'd rather save it for actual subject. But I do want to ask, with this whole thing with human trafficking and being as real as it is, our community back in the day, because now we're more enlightened, we used to really put a lot of light on pimping. But isn't that human trafficking?
No.
No.
Nah.
Why isn't it? Because they got a choice.
Hoes make pimps, hoes make a decision to be hoes, man. Most of the human trafficking, I'm not sure. Like I'm not real versed in how that world is, but I do know a little bit about pimping based off documentaries and just growing up in that era. Like most of those always make the decision that they want to be hoes. They need protection. They need guidance in the game that they in.
But what if the mental
pussy?
But what if they mental is not really actually there like that? Because I imagine there's a lot of them that wasn't mentally there based on trauma, based on so many other factors.
Manipulated?
Yeah.
That's life.
That's trafficking.
What else is going to happen?
That's trafficking. That's
life,
sex work.
though.
That's just sex work. That's not sex trafficking. That's sex working.
Like there's a lot of girls that don't have pimps and are not prostitutes today that have been manipulated to think that OnlyFans is going to make me a lot of money. So they'll set a camera up and they dance naked and they do whatever they want to on OnlyFans and they call themselves sex workers. It's just a part of the reality of the world that we live in. I don't really think it's manipulation. It's niggas that are better at it than other people as far as I'm going to manage this bitch and make sure that I can maximize the profits of what she getting. And I'm not speaking that saying I condone it or whatnot. Again, we and Rich talked about it at the top, but it's just the understanding of it. I'm not going to feel sorry and say, oh man, she's like that poor girl, man. Like
selling somebody for a profit.
That dude.
Selling somebody
That's
for a profit.
her choice though, right? Just like sex work, if we're going to say, hey, let's celebrate sex workers and that's just their choice, their body. If a girl makes a choice to like, I'm going to side with a pimp, just like you working with an employer because he's going to provide me with benefits. He's going to be able to make sure that I have the best protection when I'm out doing what I do. Like, who are we if we ain't in that world to be like, oh, you're being manipulated. This is sex trafficking. That's their lifestyle.
I've been processing this for a bit. I was like, man, we thought that was. I was like, boy, we thought that was
fucked
cool.
Up to say it do, but like,
I get what you're saying, but I was just like, boy, we thought that was cool. Like, I mean, we used to literally go through schools talking about we was pimps. Like, I just thought I've been thinking about this for at least probably 4 or 5 months.
I had a homeboy growing up for the most of his life. That's what he wanted to be. He looked at all the documentaries, listened to A-Ball and MJG, like pimps, like that nigga, like if you asked him up until probably age 10 or 11, the nigga was like, man, I want to be a pimp when I grow up.
Yeah, bro.
That was accepted.
Yeah, bro. That's how we yeah.
So Mo, I think the reason, and this can be a topic for another time, diving into the influence that you guys have talked about it before, but influence music and just rap and hip hop has had. From multiple different levels. Because, you know, being a pimp, to me, I didn't get that from Iceberg Slim or anything like that. I got that from music. Like, you know what I mean? To be, you know, like a pimp, big pimping, all types of stuff. Like you said, Baller G, UGK. Yep. It's just embedded in that lifestyle. So you don't even know what it is. But you hear it, and these niggas cool. So I want to be a pimp too. There's a lot of things, and like I said, this could be a conversation for another time, but a lot of things in music, even from misogyny that I look back on, especially when I look at my 20s, early 30s, maybe my lack to maintain the type of relationships I've wanted because of certain mindsets that I've had and how that was embedded. It's just an interesting thing I've been thinking about. I love hip hop. I still listen to it. Not as much like you two.
Yeah.
I find myself going to a lot more, but I still have favorite albums, favorite artists that I'll still listen to. But hearing that every single day does have effect on your mental.
Cannot do it.
Yeah, it has effect on your mental.
And I've gotten to a point, I just had this conversation in the barbershop the other day, and my barber was adamant. Like, bro, no, you wrong. Music didn't influence me. It was where I do. He from Detroit. It was Joy Road. Oh, that shit was going on outside. And I was like, yeah, bro, but the majority of the shit that you seen going on outside was influenced by music. The niggas that was listening to that, whether it was you copycatting the older niggas that you seen or the older niggas copycatting the music that they heard, it was still influenced by music. He just would not submit to that. He's like, nah, it's environment more so than music. And I've come to a point like what you say, Rich, like I listen to hip hop maybe once a week, maybe. And that's because I do on deck. And just having to keep up with certain stuff and just make sure that I listen to stuff and I'm abreast of what I'm talking about because I like to be knowledgeable. But any other time, it's a book. It's old shit, like you said, that I'm used to. I don't listen to rap because I don't have that mindset anymore. And it's funny how at a young age we used to hear Pac talk about C. Dolores Tucker and all of those people that were trying to ban his music, but they had points. That shit was somewhat right. Now that we're looking at it 25, 30 years later, that music is a heavy influence on how people act, us, especially as black men, we don't have a lot of role models. That shit influences us heavy. Boy. And we don't even realize it when we in it because it's just a cool thing to do.
12-year-old me and no business. Start for nothing. Y'all be fronting me, give my heart to a woman. Not for nothing, never happened. I'll be forever.
And we know it word for word.
Had no idea what that meant.
And you're trying to figure out how to implement this on the girls that you're talking to. As a 13-year-old, it's a 30-year-old man telling you this, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. So by the time I'm actually By the time I'm involved with women, doing my thing,
Jaded.
I take that mentality into it. I'm not trying
Facts.
to romance and that's big pimping.
I
played. Like, that's what it was.
We did that Odd Friday battle with Dead End the other week, and I played this song Pimps. I A-Ball and MJG off their first album coming out hard. It came out in '93. I was 11. Coming out hard as fuck.
Boy, that's crazy. Yeah.
I was 11 years old. I was 11 years old when this album dropped, and I will never forget. And I told them this when I played this song. And if you go listen to this song, you will see how fucked up it is. I had a couple of cousins sit me down older and be like, bro, this is what you need to listen to understand how to treat girls.
You said that on the
literally, yeah, the song was literally called Pimps. Wow. And they literally on there talking about dumb shit. It's banging, it's a great fucking song. Not slapping them around, but just the mindset or the mentality that you should have as a man when you look at women. And it was not right. But it was a nigga older than me who I looked up to, and I thought, oh, okay, well, you know what are you talking about? He's almost grown. Telling me that you should be listening to this, and this is how you should treat women. And we try to act like music doesn't influence or didn't influence our generation as much as it did. And it did. And we have to be truthful about that.
We absolutely do have to be truthful about that.
Before we move on, I wanted to get into something. Did you want to talk about the toxicity?
That may be our next episode.
Same thing. These two tie in.
They do tie in, but I got so much to say about it, and I don't know if we can do it and meet our theme today. So that's gonna be a theme.
So just a little bit about this before we move on to our theme today. Or if y'all want to move on to the theme, it's fine. I ain't really got to talk about this. Y'all tell me.
Rich, you the guest. It's on you, brother.
Yeah, what is it? What we got?
He talking about the future situation.
About Future?
Yes.
The Russell Wilson thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could be brief.
So recently Future just came out. He was featured on a new song with Quavo. And on the new song, he said he get it in the field like Russell Wilson. It was a sneak diss, snub at Russell Wilson. Since then, over the last 2 weeks, Russell Wilson has taken pictures with Future's son on the football field. He's put captions like, this is what life is all about. Being a father, being here for your kids. Now, on one hand, people are celebrating Future for being, he sneak dissing Russell, man. Sierra's still fucking with him. And on the other hand, Russell Wilson is making a power play by saying, like, look, man, I'm literally raising your kids, bro. Like, you out here making sneak disses about me and my wife. I'm literally out here showing your son how to be a better man. My question to you guys is this. Is it super petty about Russell to even respond to it, even if he's indirectly responding to it? Or is it more petty by Future to continue this thing going and trying to make it a thing? Rich, what you say?
I'm going more petty with Future. It's been way too much time since they've moved on. They've been married for some time now. They have 2 children of their own as far as Russell and Sierra now. And then neither one of those children are babies. Like, they're walking and talking. To let you know how long that time has transpired, you just gotta let it go. If I get it, that it's catchy and it's rap and whatever, but there's something else there that you just need to address it and let it go. Like, that's not even something that I want to hear from Future. Like, it's old. Like, move on. And Russ, normally I would say, I'm big into just being a bigger person when you can. But I also believe on standing on your name. The title of this episode, My Name Is My Name. That whole scene in The Wire was around something like, I don't care. Like, my name is in the streets.
In the streets saying me.
Yeah, my name was out there on the streets.
Tell them I didn't get the message.
There's something there's only so much. I don't care how meek or mild you are, that you gotta, like, respect your name a little bit. You gotta speak up for yourself. And that's his way of doing it. He's not a rah-rah, I'm clapping back guy. He's gonna do it in the form of having your son on the field, using your lyrics against you. I get the fact. I get it. You have to, because at some point, I like I said, even a monk would get tired of Future throwing shots. Like, bro, you done did this shit too long.
I'm a man, bro. I'm going to take offense to the shit that you're saying. Like, you're mentioning me in a rap song. I'm a man. I'm going to take offense to that. And in order, in order for me not to do nothing to you or respond and be petty, I'm going to show you what you should be doing. As I feel like it was an ultimate flex. Like, bro, I'm literally out here with your son at professional football stadiums, getting this nigga professional training, and you're doing rap videos, and you're mentioning me in rap songs. Like,
the funniest,
how small are you?
The funniest thing that I saw was a meme that said, "Why Future talking about his son's dad like that?"
But that's real though. It goes to just the mindset that we have sometimes as people. But he feel like, well, I got this platform. I know, and this is just me speaking to Spike Lee, how I'm looking at it, and I ain't saying the Future thinks this way. But in order to stay relevant, in order to stay popular, I know that I could say this and it'll get a reaction. I'm a rapper. This is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I put that in front of my actual priorities. I don't know if Future take care of his son or not, but the appearance of it is when I see Russell Wilson out there at the Seattle Seahawks professional stadium with his son, and his son saying, hey, I want to play 3 sports and I want to do this. Like, it makes me think that you're lacking at your job, and what you're paying attention to is not really as relevant as it should be. Like, you paying attention to who your baby mama fucking versus what my son is doing. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy to me.
Nah, it is.
And it's crazy that niggas champion. I've had, like, it's niggas in my group chat that are championing this. And they're like, oh, well, man, Russell's lame, and Future, he got off because he said the bar about him. I'm like, bro, are you serious?
Let me
What's that? Why does that even
Future's
matter?
lame.
Like, I don't know, man.
Future's lame. Let's call it what it is, bro. You messed up. You had a good one and you crying about it. Future's lame. You're lame, bro. He's sitting there stepping in, raising your child, and you keep going at the dude that's stepping in trying to make this situation work. He ain't thinking about you, bro. And you still doing this. Like, man, I'm sick and tired of this sassy black man attitude. Bro, move on. Be a man. I just talked to my wife about this. We watching some little reality dating show with black people and stuff, and I'm talking about all men got to do is just be a man. Protect your woman, love her, and do your best. All that extra sassiness, it's not necessary, bro. Future, that's lame activity. Yes, Future, you are a legend. Yes, Future, you will always be remembered in hip-hop history. But when it comes to this, everybody that makes music, I've made music, you got a checklist of things you're not going to do when you make a track. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about these type of people. I'm not going to talk about these because I'm not going to do that. This should be in that category. Stop talking about that. That is the mother of your child. And you still talking about the dude that's there taking care of her, making sure she's good because she's the mother of your child. That's lame. Bro, I'm so sick of this. Like, this toxic. I can't wait till we get there.
Let me ask you this.
This is whack, bro. It's freaking whack, man. Let me ask you this.
Because I feel you. I'm of the same sentiment of you with this. But what would you say if you having a conversation with you? Let's say Future heard this and he hit you up. He said, Mo, really? I'm just doing this to sell records, bro. Like, I know that people are going to respond to this in the way that they did, and it's going to get more clicks, it's going to get more impressions, it's going to get more features, and I'm a rapper. My job is to make people engage. So if he tells you, he hears what you just said, he's like, bro, I'm just trying to get people to engage. I agree, Russell Wilson is doing a good job. What would you say to him then?
I'm going to tell you again, when do we draw the line as a man? So your job is more important than your morals? Is that what we doing? When people tell you, oh, you have to take bro, you know how many interviews I was doing? They was like, oh, you have to take the shot. Now, anybody took the shot when COVID was around, by any means, that's your choice. But I'm not going to have no job go against where I stand. So when you are a man and a job can say, oh, because I'm a rapper, I got to move the needle because that's my job. It goes against what you're standing on when you say, no, I actually respect dude. That's lame to me. When does making money surpass what you stand on? We got to do, like, black men, black famous men that lead our community, or at least people look to in our community. We got to stop doing that. That's trash to me, bro. I don't respect it because you better than that. Like when we found out Future didn't even do drugs and he was talking all these songs, it was just like, bro, you might as well stop making them songs. Actually, it's respectable that you don't even do drugs.
He doubled down on it.
Yeah, so it's like, bro, don't even make them songs.
After that.
Actually, my
after
respect
that, he
level,
said his drug reference use after people found out that he didn't double down, and that goes to my point with this. Like him and Russell Wilson could have the best relationship. Like who knows? We don't know. Like they might meet, shake hands. Hey man, I respect you, brother. I appreciate what you're doing for my child. But and it goes to what we were just talking about with the music and how it influences people, because they think that's what we want to hear. That's what people click on. That's what people want to buy. I'm gonna sell you the package of, oh, I don't fuck with this nigga. I'm gonna put a bar in my music about this nigga and this, that. He gonna put something out about being with my son, and it's gonna be on social media for the next 2 weeks, and that's gonna make my album sales go up. Versus being respectable enough to us, the people that do consume it, and being like, nah, it ain't even really like that, bro.
Your reputation. How much does it mean to you? You got something to say, Rich?
Nah, man. I mean, you said it. Like I listen. I felt what you were saying. That was an impassioned plea. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. If you ever hear this show, man, look, like I have no personal problem with you. Like I say, you are a legend, but it's like you don't have to do this. Like you don't have to do it. I don't care what labels is pressuring, homeboy, whoever. You don't have to do this. I promise you don't. I promise you your fan base is gonna follow you regardless. You can make a Lil Wayne How to Love song and people gonna follow you. No problem.
How I go, Mo?
How to Love.
You're gonna be in the next Future disc, Mo.
That's hilarious. Hey, I'd be honored. I would be honored.
Future about to flame your shit.
Flame me, bro. Get us to look at another week in the books, awitb2022@gmail.com. Straight up. But to get to our main theme of this episode, reputation and respect. We've been kind of alluding to it through all of the situations with the Carlee Russel situation, even this Future one we just spoke about. But I wanted to speak here, and I know we long-winded, but y'all just ride the wave real quick. Growing up as a kid, and even a young boy, we're talking maybe high school, both y'all. What was your reputation amongst family, and what was your reputation amongst friends? Or were they the same, or were they different?
My rep was, one of my boys told me, man, he said, first and foremost, you are one of one. Like, even starting out to my name. So my government name is Kyron. And he's like, I've never met another Kyron. I see a couple more pop up now and then, but Kyron is my government name. I go by Rich. Rich started with K Rich, and then it gets abbreviated to Rich. That's a long story, another time for another day. But I've always been like, oh, so.
Really quick, that's another similarity, Rich. Like I've never met another person with my name that was spelled the same way, like LOUQUAN, the way that it's spelled. Like I've never met another person with that name.
Yeah, man, just one of one. So, my rep was just being, my mom would say I'm an old soul. I've always just been kind of like real laid back, real chill, talented. Leadership qualities. I mean, everything that I've done, from sports, always the captain, to jobs, having leadership positions, stuff like that. That's just kind of been my rep growing up, and I've always had this ability to make people feel comfortable. I'm not the most outward person. Like I like my space. I like my me time. I'm not gonna go out if I'm waiting for food somewhere. I'm not gonna just strike up small talk. I hate small talk. Like I hate it. Like it's not my thing at all. But I find myself where people just come up to me and start talking, and it's just weird. I don't know why it works or how that happens, but it just happens. I don't know.
They sense comfort.
Yeah, so that's kind of been my rep, and I think I've been consistent about it. I've just elevated who I am as the years are going on. But like I said, just cool, laid back, just always moving to the beat of my own drum. I never really rode the wave. I always decided what was cool. And if I said it was cool, if you don't have to agree with it. I don't care. I don't really care about other people's opinions. I ain't need nobody to go nowhere with me. If I was hitting people up, what's the mood tonight, I'll step out by myself, solo.
Yes.
Because chances are, just from growing up and being cool, and playing sports and just knowing people all over the city, there's a 90% chance I'm gonna know somebody when I get here anyway. And it's always gonna be love. And I've been blessed from that. My family, man, I was privileged I had the privilege of being who I was. I never had to overextend myself. I never had to step up too early to be the man of the house. I never had to, there was no sad story. And it wasn't like some suburban, all that. It was just more so my boy JP said it the best. You come off as your family gave a fuck about you. So I give a lot of my credit to my family and my friends because I'm not who I am without them. I'm a good person because they're great people. You know what I mean? I'm the way I am because I've learned from all of them. So
you say it's a straight line through.
Yeah, straight line through. I've grown and there's things I still want to get better at, man. There's still a lot of things that when I'm passionate about something, it's so extreme to the point where if I don't care, I think I said it earlier, if I don't care, I don't care. I'm not going to give it that same level. I wish I did a better job of seeing things through. There are certain things that I didn't accomplish that bother me. I never finished college. I went, but I didn't finish.
Same.
And part of that is because I was never in 11th grade saying that I want to be this, like I want to do that. It was kind of those like, we're going to try it out and see. So since I didn't have that vision or that real end goal, I didn't care. Like whatever was going to happen was going to happen. Now I wish, I adopt the lifestyle of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I wish I took that mindset when I was in school, because even if I didn't care, I could still give it my best just out of self-pride. I want to be the best that I can at this. I've adopted that more into my 30s, but there are certain things, even relationships, I wish I would have seen certain things through versus just being on some, man, fuck this. I ain't got time for it. I'm just on to the next. I'd rather be by myself and do what I need to do versus deal with the bullshit. Versus sitting down and being mature enough to really understand and know that these are bad. I don't pray for the good times, man. I pray for that God give me prepared for the bad times. When stuff is down bad, help me keep my same character.
Figure it out in that time, yeah.
And figure it out. You know what I mean? Because those times are gonna happen. And I always was just on it just wasn't worth my time. Yeah. So I'm cool. I'm out.
What about you, Spike? Well, how do you feel about your reputation? That was really good.
That was really good, man. And again, I appreciate having you on, Rich. It makes me feel less of like a one-on-one. I'm glad that we've had some similar experiences.
Yeah.
I listened to your story that you were just telling now, and I related to a lot of it. Some of the differences were in my family, my people always knew, like you said, your family, you could tell your family gave a fuck. My mom was that mom. Like they gave a fuck. Not from a sense of I'm showing up to every football game or I'm signing every report card, but nigga, you're not walking out of this house as a lesser representation of what I raised you to be. Your clothes are going to be good. You're going to be neat. You ain't going to stink. Like nobody is going to think that you come from no struggle background. That ain't what we do. One of the benefits that I had from my family was I was one of the only boys growing up. Like my mom got 3 sisters. Excuse me. She has 2 sisters and 1 brother. The brother moved away. My grandmother wasn't married. My mom wasn't married. Neither one of her sisters were married. All of my aunts had females as children. I was literally the only boy around. So you get a different perspective and you're treated differently, like to what you're saying, Rich. Like it wasn't a sense of you're spoiled or anything like that. It's just like you're the only man around. You start to understand how women think, and they just treat you differently because you're the only man around. And you start to process that, and when you go out into life, you see different things. I'm similar to you, Rich, when you say like I'm not the person that's overly excited or exuberant about things. I'm in my own bubble. People will ask you about Lou. They say, "Oh, he's quiet, he's laid back," or is unless you know him. And if you do know him, and he's gonna share a lot with you. You're like he locked in with you, but it takes a long time to get to that place with him. So my reputation has a lot of the times been based out of mystique. Like a lot of people are not sure how I should be treating him. I think he's this way. He runs with these type of people, but I'm not sure he's a 100% necessarily like them. So I don't know really how to treat him. And then I'm not giving you too much information because again, I'm reserved. I'm laid back. I'm trying to peep the scene. So I ain't overly talkative. I'm a person that people have to figure out. And I take pride in that. I like that.
Bruh.
I'm not trying to be mysterious. I'm not trying to hold nothing back. However, I do want you to do work to figure out who I am. Like, I don't just volunteer free information. I don't just fuck with everybody. And that goes a long way to what you're talking about when you're saying your personality and your character. It's not that I'm standoffish, that I don't fuck with people. It's just that it has to be some authenticity to what you're trying to figure out about me. That's what I respect. Genuine. Right. It has to be genuine. And that's, I think, where you and I relate a lot, Rich. As far as like, I don't appreciate ingenuine interactions. I don't appreciate a nigga approaching me because you heard this and you think that you're going to get this from it. I appreciate a motherfucker genuinely trying to find out, where am I coming from? That's one of the things that I fuck with Mo so much about. We had that conversation that he was alluding to earlier. He was like, I'm on the phone with Spike Lee. One of the things that I was trying to understand, and like, because he did send an email before. He did try to reach out. One of the things that I was trying to understand, like, where's this nigga coming from? Like, is it a cheap come up? Yeah. Is it for him? Is it like, oh, I'm just gonna be fucking with him, then I'll use this to move on? But it didn't come off that way. That's why I fuck with Mo so heavy. It's really genuine. He's like, no, I'm really trying to understand you, bro. I'm trying to understand this. I want all the game you're trying to give me. And if I could give you critiques, I'm more than happy to do that too. Yeah. But that's the type of person that I am. I value those type of people in my life. So a lot of times that adds to my reputation of being, people have called me standoffish. People have called, he's quiet, he's reserved. And those things do ring true to people who don't really know me or haven't taken the time out to try to get to know me, to be like, nah, because my closest friends, like you're saying, Rich, my closest homeboys, I've been homeboys with them. Like my longest home, we met in first grade. Yeah. To this day, we're still cool. Like that's probably one of my best friends. I'm a godfather to his son. Like, and we've been cool that long. We talk about Dro all the time on the show, Mo. Reaches like I met him when I was 11, 10 years old. And all of that, us having those long-standing relationships because we really try to find out and accept each other for who we are. A long-winded version of the answer, and what I'm trying to give is a lot of my reputation is based off people kind of tapping the surface but not really trying to dig in. One of the biggest things that bother me when people make an assumption and they think, oh, okay, I see how he is. They're like, oh, well, you don't care. They think that I'm really nonchalant. And that's furthest from the truth. Bro, I give way more than a fuck. But you gotta
but you know your response don't always reflect that though.
Hold on though. Can I jump in real quick, Mo?
Yeah.
Because Spike just described me. I think we just described each other in different ways pretty much, because there's certain things that he said that I've heard my entire life. The nonchalant, the mystery. I had a homegirl tell me last week, she said, you have some kind of talent or skill to where I feel like I know everything about you, but I don't know anything about you.
No idea.
They know, but they don't know.
I'm sure Spike has heard this. Facts. Where once people do like kind of, because it is hard to get in. I don't just let everybody in. I don't volunteer. This is really hit on the head because I say this all the time. I don't volunteer information, but if you ask me, we can have a conversation. But I'm not just going to come outright and just tell you stuff. I'm very reserved. I'm very private in that sense. You know, everything's on a need to know basis. You know, I'll share my life experiences through conversation, but that's the case. But I'm sure people have told you, oh, I didn't think you were going to be like this, because they already have an assumption because of how I carry myself. I'm quiet because I'm peeping the scene. I want to know I'm observant. One of my strongest strengths that I would say, I'm very self-aware and I'm very observant. Like I know exactly what's going on, almost to some Jason Bourne shit, where he can look out the window. There's a car out there with this license plate. I'm just one of them type of dudes. Everything,
my nigga. Yes, I've looked at the license plate. I know what the jeans. Like I know all of this shit. I paid attention.
Like I can drive at times, and it'd be like nighttime, and I might have a passenger with me. I'm like, oh yeah, such and such. I don't know. You see that person right there in the passenger seat of that Buick, and it'd be parked. Now, how do you even see that? It's just like, I don't know. I'm just observing. I'm always on the lookout. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
Mo, yeah. What was your question, Mo? You said, well, sometimes it seems like when you respond to people, what?
Well, hold on. Before I ask the question, just to give kind of my reputation. Like as a kid, like my mom used to say, like, you like, boy, you like a philosopher. Cause I just always had questions and I was always curious about stuff. And I just always had a great imagination. You know what I'm saying? So that was like my reputation as a kid. As far as school goes, with my parents, like I was low key, maybe even high key and underachiever when it came to education, which why when I went to college, it was like a 180. It was a complete flip. And when I did go to college, my reputation changed because that was when I tapped into, okay, this is my ability. My ability is that I'm creative and I don't necessarily have to be the most book smart, but I'm very creative in getting to the solution. And that changed my trajectory as far as how I felt about myself. And then from that point on, we were doing music and recording and being grown, taking the initiative to actually make my own music. And it started to be like, okay, Maurice or Mo or Lump or whatever family called me. It's like, okay, he's about something. He's doing stuff on his own without the family. So it started to show, it's like, oh, if anybody gonna make it, it's gonna be him because he's doing things. So my reputation actually changed from when I was a little boy to being an adult because I tapped into something different.
Lump.
Yeah,
Lump.
I was about to ask about that.
Lump. That's my nickname. I was like 11 pounds when I was born. I was like a fat chocolate lump. So they called me Lump. And so that's still my nickname to this day. My mom still say Lump, Bubba Ashley. Yep, so Lump. Yes, it sounds crazy now, but you know, you get a nickname, you hear it all the time. It's mad regular.
Yeah, that's some black people shit right there.
It definitely is. It definitely is. But you know, yeah, go ahead.
You were gonna ask something.
No, I know what I was gonna say. I know what I was gonna say, and it goes. I'm sure Spike can be described the same way. One of my boys hit me with this. And I just laughed and I told some of my other friends and they was like, oh, I never thought of it like that, but that's 100% spot on. My boy said, hey man, I've never met someone who cared so much and equally gave less of a fuck.
Yep.
Like that's how that I've never met. You got the biggest heart. You'll do anything. You'll support everything you do is sincere.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell somebody you got them, you got them. Like you ain't got to ask, you ain't got to call. It is what it is. But you also ain't here for the bullshit. If you ain't interested in it, you'll say you ain't interested in it. You're not gonna play the games of the like. Mo, let me ask you a question. I want to see what type of person you are. If you are, let's say you're walking through the store, and you know, I don't know if you ever seen like some of those like Sprint carriers or whatever. They might be in the middle of Walmart or Target, and they trying to sign people up for internet. Are you one of the people that'll like act like you on your phone and shit just to avoid them? Or are you one of the people that'll be like, I'm cool, I'm straight? Are you like a polite?
Yeah. I'm at that point. I think it was like a few years ago was the last time I actually entertained it. Then I was like, all right.
I didn't know if you had problems telling people no if they like this for stuff that you didn't want to do.
Nah, I don't have no problem telling people no. Nah. I never did though. Like,
okay,
I never did because I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded.
I get where Rich is coming from.
Yeah, I know. Because we talked about that. I know Spike Blue, like,
the open-minded part of it. Yeah, the open-minded part of it. Because Mo, you seem like the type of person, and this is no offense or anything. You seem like the type of person. Let me hear what this dude got to say.
Yeah,
like you seem Spike like that. You have that type of grace. I don't got it at all. Nigga,
what am I gonna lose? What am I gonna lose?
I'm
whatever
10 minutes,
episode you
5 minutes, 45
you're gonna
seconds.
You're gonna
that's
lose
what I'm gonna lose.
You're gonna lose that somewhere. You're gonna lose it somewhere.
But it just means more. And I get what you're saying. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. There's just the difference in our personalities. Bro, get out of my face. I'm never going to buy this from you in the middle of a Walmart. If I did, I would be doing way more research. There's no way in possible hell that you're going to be able to sell me right now. So no, nope, I'm good. That's my perspective of it.
I'm that way. Yeah, I'm exactly that way. And it's just funny because I forget which episode it was when you were talking about the real estate class and Spike asked you if you had you should be here, the blue signs. I couldn't. There's no way you could ever even think about talking to me about that shit. Like, there's no way. Shut that competition down. So when you said it,
way, bro.
Yeah, so you saying that you did that and Ponzi schemes, you fell into them. I know that's a younger version of you. But that's what made me want to ask because my mentality, my mind doesn't even take me to a place to even understand how someone would think that could. I respect the hustle almost because I don't know what it is, and people, if they get deep into it and make money, that's dope. But I just can't even get to the first step of understanding, comprehending how this makes sense.
Well, here's
how fucked up I am.
But here's how it works.
Fucked up I am, though. Go ahead.
Here's how it works. For me, it's not so much that, I'm going to fall into the scheme of what y'all doing. I wanted to be on so bad. Like, I wanted to be the nigga that's like, yo, I broke the mold. But here's my mindset at 23, 26, whatever. Like, I'm not thinking, I'm going to fall in this scheme, you're going to get over. No, I'm thinking, no, you think you're going to get over me on the scheme, and I'm going to turn around, I'm going to get you. Because now I'm creative in my thinking, and I'm going to find a way to get you. Unfortunately, you run out of time and patience to get to that point. And then, you got
okay. I respect that mindset.
Fucked up. I'm offended. I'm offended that the nigga comes and asks me about, like, you should do this, you should sign up here, or the 4X. Oh man, you should do 4X. And like, I'm offended that a motherfucker,
you are so weird, bro.
Thought that I would
are a salesman.
Consider that shit.
I can't rap about
that. Is crazy. Like, you always say that
every time.
I am in sales. And again, I could probably be a lot better of a salesman if I didn't have that mentality, because I'm the same. I think that way when I'm selling. Like, to me, like a consumer. Yeah, like, bro, literally, there's nothing that you could call me over my phone and sell me. But that's what I do.
No, big facts.
So people have to be receptive of that, have to be receptive that can happen. However, as a consumer, like you're saying, Mo, like, bro, I'm not even giving you the time of day. You're not getting to your pitch. You're not telling me what you got. You called me out of the blue, click. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even know why you felt like that this would be okay for me. And that's one of the things in which that I have to get better at as a black man, as a person. Like, I take myself way too serious. And that limits you in some spaces when you're like, okay, I'm thinking long term, or I'm thinking about my image, or I'm thinking about where this is going to take me, versus just being present in the moment. I have to work on being better at, if I want to be better at what I do, and even this presenting podcasts of people selling whatever, just being present in the moment. And those type of things consider you to be present in the moment. And that's one thing that I struggle with. I ain't even here with you right now because what you're saying is so much bullshit to me. I've moved on. I've moved on to how I'm going to get you out of my face, out of my life. Make sure that you never call me again. Make sure that you know that I know that this is a shuck and I ain't fucking with you. That's how, that's the mindset that I'm trying to break myself of, because as adults and as successful businessmen, you have to be open to some shit.
Absolutely.
Like, there's some shit that's going to sound ridiculous to you in the beginning, but then as you work through it, you're like, okay, goddamn, I was wrong.
Yep.
I wasn't aware of that. Credit to Mo, like I said, until we started doing this show, till I started going to therapy.
Ridiculous doing this.
Till I got older. Till I got older, and I was like, well, sometime the ridiculous shit you got to entertain to see where it takes you. A lot of my life, I haven't been open to being like, okay, where is this going to take me? Because I already thought in my head, like, nah, I'm not fucking with
You've
this.
already played 10 steps down.
Yeah, I played 10 steps down, and I see, or I think I know where this is going to take me. So I'm bowing out right now.
Right now, yeah.
I ain't got nothing to do with this. Let me leave.
That makes sense.
That's another similarity. When I said earlier, like sometimes I wish I could see things through.
Facts.
Just to see how it works. I'm quick to cut it off. Like I'm the 15 minutes dude. Like, I'll give you 15, but after that, if I know I'm not into it, I'm not into it.
I'm done. Like, and it ain't no doubling back or coming. Like, you once I'm done, it's over.
But here's my thing. This is what I want to ask y'all both, because y'all got similar mindsets. Like, we're talking reputation. Like, I don't want to say, what are you afraid of by going? Because it almost seems like you guys both are like, nah, I'm not going to even allow it, because if I go through this and it's a sham, I'll let you make me look a certain kind of way when nobody's real. Yeah, but look, but nobody's looking. Nobody's watching.
It don't matter. I'm watching.
It's internal.
Yeah.
But look,
I have to live
these things build character, though. Like, taking L's build character. You're not even setting yourself up to build character, because you can't just build character on dubs. You got to take.
That's not the type of L I'm willing to take.
That's true.
But you can't. Right. But look, you can't organize the L. You can't direct the L that's coming. As far as, I'm okay with this L, I'm not okay with. Sometimes you're gonna catch an L when you didn't see it coming, and then sometimes you're like, I seen that coming.
But yeah, but I get what you're saying, but I think that's a little bit different. So because catching the L, to me, I have no problem taking a loss. I don't even look at it as loss. I learned something. It's a lesson.
Learn something from it. Every lesson. Yeah.
But the reason it's going to be a lesson is because I actually cared about it to begin with, to put something into it. You know, I'm one of those people where as long as I know that I put it all out there, I left it all out there on the field, if it don't go my way, I can sleep at night with that. Versus I bullshitted through this. I wish I took this a little bit more serious. That's what bothers me in the end of it. Yeah, so,
or for me, like, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So, if it's something that I never was interested in to begin with, and I don't care about the, it's like working a bullshit job.
Well, that ain't what I'm saying.
I don't care if I get fired from here. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing, though. For a personality like mine, and what Rich is saying, it's like I really didn't want to believe in this in the beginning, but I gave you a chance, and you still wasted my time. Now I'm doubly upset. Now I'm really pissed off because I knew I shouldn't have listened
I didn't like
shit.
it. I knew
I didn't like it. I knew I didn't fuck with you. I knew
get over it. Like, get over it. It's like, so
that's one of the things. That's one of the things for personalities like ours. It takes years to get over shit like that. But it takes a long time for me to be like, man, that nigga really got out on me.
Spike, what if the loss wasn't really that big? What if it really wasn't that
matter? It's a personality thing. It's not, it don't have anything to do with monetary basis. It ain't got nothing to do with how much you lost, or if it was money, or if it was time, or if it's anything. For a personality like Rich and I are talking about, you hold yourself in such a high esteem, which is what I said. I have to work on that. I'm way too serious. But you hold yourself in such a high esteem that you're like, I can't fucking believe that I knew that this shit wasn't gonna work, and this nigga still got it off on me.
Yeah.
I still went through with it. I ain't lose no money. I may not have wasted that much time, but the simple fact that I knew in the beginning that this shit was not gonna work, and I still let him get it off, that'll bother me for years, nigga.
I'm working to get better. I'll tell a story on that. I'll make it quick. I never forget. I was about 25, man. This one we were still going out. The whole crew, every weekend we going out. Like I said, I've known these dudes since we was kids, elementary school. We go out, dark club, my boy Shelp with me, and it looks like we see this girl that we went to school with and probably hadn't seen since school, right? So we looking, we walking by, a dude is on some, can I help y'all? We find out it's not the girl we thought. So immediately, me being the person I am, I can understand. One thing I'll always say, I'll call a buck. I'll keep it a buck. Like, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. And I understood that if I was him and just saw two niggas staring your girl's direction, not saying nothing, just staring her down, not acknowledging you, it looks like some scheming shit. The whole time we are trying to figure out if we know her, it ain't even on that. But I understood where he's coming from. So I said, you know what? It clicked right away. My bad, bro. You're right. It wasn't even like that. We thought we went to school with her. We didn't. That's all it was. Nothing. We went about our business and said, yeah, y'all better keep walking. That shit, the way I turned around so quick.
Oh, man.
And before anything could happen, security in there, breaking everything up. But when I tell you, Mo, I'm not lying to you, for 3 or 4 years, I would randomly think about that moment and be upset that I did not, like, mush him. Like, just the fact that he could get that off. I told y'all in the group chat, like, what makes you think I'm especially when I come at you on some humble shit. I tell you I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't come at you on some rah-rah. I told you I was wrong. My bad. It was not like that. I get where you're coming from.
You made yourself vulnerable.
And you still have that energy. That bothered me so much because now I feel like you deserve that.
Ah, man. I really want to break your face for real. Like, that's how I feel about my old job. I gotta
deal. And that's the thing. I have to deal with myself now. I ain't even worried about
that's
y'all.
What it is.
Like, I gotta deal with myself every time I look in the mirror, every time I think about this shit. Now I gotta deal with, I should have did this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about a personality like what we and Rich and we're talking about.
But I'm aware. I'm aware of it.
That's what I said.
I'm aware of it. I'm trying to get
that's what I said. And I get it, but I don't. Y'all brothers are talented. Y'all brothers is dope. I just don't want y'all to miss the opportunity because one thing happens and I'm holding it for 3-4 years. So now I'm shutting down all of these possibilities. I'm not mad. Y'all gonna be how y'all gonna be because, like you said, that's y'all personality type. I just don't want wherever you compartmentalize that club night. Okay, I'm gonna compartmentalize, but I can't shut down what's in front of me because of this right here. I'm gonna still stay open because that's par for the course. That's all I'm saying. It's like that's gonna be a part of it.
That's
you know what I mean.
That's
But
100% fair because I started doing that even with podcasting. There's things that naturally do not come that aren't satisfying to me, but that I know that I have to do. Stuff that I don't want to do that I'm going to start doing. I do not listen to myself that often once I record. Once it's over, it's over. And most of that is because of, like I said, self-fatigue. I don't want to get too caught up in my own hype. If I do feel like I'm killing it, I just want to like keep everything mellow. Social media, we know how it works. I edit a lot for the podcast. So I have to go back and maybe cut up some clips to put out. I need to be more active on social media. All of the things that I'm not comfortable with, I'm willing to do. Getting out, networking, talking to people, getting people hip to the pod, shooting shots. Like I am starting to do that. And it feels a lot more comfortable now that I am. Just because the greater good is worth it to me. And it goes back to what we said earlier. I'm okay taking this L. If I reach out to somebody to be on the pod or I reach out to somebody to check it out and I don't get a response, I'm okay with that because I care about what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't translate to this. Like, I know when Animal Brown was on here and Mo, he said, like, and I take this is a special compliment to me. Like, man, Luke can go up and talk to anybody. Like, we've been in a revolt. That nigga go talk to fucking David Banner and tell him he don't like his music. Or go talk to Taxstone or whoever it may be. I don't take those things personal because of everything of what Rich just said. Like those are things that I feel like I have to do to make it and what I'm trying to do as far as media or whatnot. We're talking about personal interactions. Those are the ones that I take that way. Mostly with females, mostly with people that you're close with, mostly with family. Personal reactions are the ones that I take that. If I walk up to a nigga and I'm like, oh, I do podcast, nigga, I never heard of you, get out of my face. I don't give a fuck. Nigga, I still make a living. I can pay my mortgage every month. Like, it doesn't matter if you know me or not. I don't give a fuck. However, the personal relationships of people who feel like it's just different. It's different when you're having a personal interaction and people are like, I got a bad read or something like that. You process that differently with my personality.
Yeah.
Let me ask
energy
this.
is always good too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I never go in a space with bad energy. I might be, I won't say standoffish, but I might be reserved and quiet. But I'm always, if you come up, I'm always gonna give good energy because I notice it tells me right away if I'm cheerful with you and you got an attitude that right away I know it's you and it's not me. So all right, let me stay away from this dude. This might be trouble tonight. Let me just get away from that.
Okay. Like, I respect the space. Like, I've been out places again, and I never thought that this, like, we recording to avoid a microphone. We think it's just us right here talking. I've been in the airport before and motherfuckers been like, oh, man, Spike Lee, like, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, nah, you don't know me, bro. Like, I promise you, you don't. Like, no, I listen to your podcast. Like, oh, okay, yeah, you might know.
You on YouTube on a few of them now. They definitely don't know
like,
you.
Right. That energy is totally different from the other energy that we're speaking of
trying to get over.
We were talking about just now. Yeah, just trying to get over and somebody trying to do something like that. Energy that you put out there for podcasting and for promoting the things that we're doing in this space. Like, I appreciate it, whether it's rejected or motherfucker saying, I don't fuck with you, you got a stupid opinion, or I do fuck with you. Like, I respect all of that versus the personal rejections, like something where I personally feel like someone has gotten over on me. So it's a lot easier to do this than it is like just life in general, is what I was trying to say.
Well, let me stick a bow on it because obviously, like I always say, every episode we can do probably 2 parts. We probably end up moving in that direction because it seems to become more and more of a formula here. But for the sake of this episode, just to leave people on a note, a 2-part question for you, Rich, as well as you, Spike. 1, how important is your reputation to you in today's era? And do you think, let me reverse it. Do you think reputation still is important in today's era? And secondly, how important is reputation to you at this moment of your life?
I'll go first. I feel like reputation is very important. And the reason being, especially at my age and what I'm trying to do, I'm not jostling with a nigga for a position. So I don't want a nigga trying to come to me with like I'm trying to do this or trying to do that, just overpowering the situation versus trying to figure out what they can gain and what I can gain from it. So it means a lot to me for a person to understand my personality and talk that out with me versus I have this perception of you and I'm going to treat you this way because of the perception that I have for you. Again, I want to credit you, Mo, and one of the biggest successes of this podcast. It wasn't like you said, oh, I talked to Animal Brown and Spike Lee. I can't believe I got On Deck TV. One of the most important things about it was you're willing to deal with me on a sense of, okay, how are we going to process these personalities? How am I going to ask these questions? How am I going to respond to what he responds to? And the thought process and getting to know each other as Black men, that's very important to me. So when someone comes up to me and they're trying to do business or they're trying to progress, I really like to understand not necessarily what they think of my image or what they think of my what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily how they think of me overall before they met me, but as you meet me, how are you treating me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you understand it? Like, listen, man, I can be real with this dude. I can tell him what I'm trying to do. I ain't got to be fake or facetious, and we can still get these things off and we can still get these things done. That's what I appreciate the most. Again, that's what I credit you to, Mo, for this being a success. Even Rich being coming in on this and seamlessly being a part of what we do with Good Earners and here as an episode, Another Week in the Books. It's just about the respect that people have for where you are right now, how I'm approaching you, not just this perspective that I have of you in my head. Oh, I think you're nonchalant, or I think you laid back, or I think you're not going to react to this, or I think you're not going to do that. No, nigga, ask the question. Mm-hmm. Figure it out. Like, don't just come into your thought process and I'm trying to skirt around what I think that you're going to like. Ask the questions. Be open to the response of yes or no or the disagreements, and let you and I figure it out as men versus you trying to tiptoe around what you think I like and what I don't like. I hate that. And that's the biggest thing that I want to take from this episode. It's like we should be able to engage, not just, oh, I think this about Rich, or maybe this. No, I want to engage. Maybe you don't like it, but it's cool for you to tell me that and for me to back off of it and us to figure out a different approach versus trying to tiptoe around it.
Absolutely, man. A couple of things before I even get into that, my answer, but I do want to shout you out too, Mo, because I know I talk about how similar me and Spike are. I've said that from day one. Before me and Spike even have a conversation, I saw it. I picked up on it right away. Yeah. There's some of the comments he made. I'm like, that's some shit I would say. But I want to commend you because we are similar also in just that I can recognize that sense that you are in a spot where you are ready for it to happen. Like you need it to happen. Like you that drive and that passion and that grind is there. The way that you approached me the first time we ever spoke, I respected that and loved that so much, man, because it was so genuine and authentic and humble. Like, yo, I'm a fan of what you do. I've listened for a while. I've heard you reference Sopranos. We got this podcast. I just want you to check it out. You specifically told me. Yeah. You specifically said, not asking you to promote it, not asking for nothing. I just want you to check it out. And I appreciated that because you put the ball in my court to do what I wanted to. Mm-hmm. Once again, you talk about taking those L's. That was an L you were comfortable taking. This dude could leave me on scene. Yeah. Nothing come from it.
Leave you on
but
scene.
I hit you back as I bet. Yeah. I listen to it because I'm not, as much as I support, I'm going to support every way I can.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to lie. Mm-hmm. So if it was something that I listened to and wasn't rocking with, I'm not going to trash it. I'm not going to down it, but you might not see me promoting it or supporting it. Mm-hmm. I listened to it and I'm like, oh shit, this is good. This is really good. Mm-hmm. So I just started putting it on our page, on the Culture Garden page. Yeah. Just because I want to see you shine. It's always a we, not a me thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I really appreciated that. No different than when you asked me to be an official part of the podcast. You remember what my response was?
You was like I'm glad to do this.
You didn't share this with me, Mo. Tell me what was his response.
He was like,
what was my response?
I would be honored to do this, but I also want to make sure I respect the chemistry that you and Spike got on Good Earners. because I'm a fan of the show and I like what y'all doing. And I mean, we have a good time when we record as well, but I want to make sure that that synergy is there, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
it goes back to that
huge.
But that goes
Yeah,
to, and that's great that, like, that you brought that up. Sorry to cut in, but that goes to the personality of it, though. Like, you weren't, and it's the same thing how Mo and I got together for this podcast. You weren't thirsty for it to be like, oh yeah, I do it. Like let me pump and listen to it.
Yeah.
It was more so like, bro, no, I need to understand this. If it's something even that I fuck with, I appreciate you reaching out to me and doing this, but I want to understand it. And just like with Mo, like he reached out to me with the Sopranos thing. I was like, I don't know, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like you and I ain't really got it, because I'm really big on rapport. Like how well do I get along with people? Animal Brown pointed that out. Like he and I have a great rapport for our On Deck TV podcast, and that's one of the main things that I told Mo. I was like, okay, I have this thing in mind. We can do the Sopranos, but I want to do it some justice. How about you and I gather a rapport doing another week in the books, and it's flourished into this.
Yeah, that's dope, man. But the main reason I even bring that up is because you guys talked about support. To me, that's real support. Knowing that I love The Sopranos, my second favorite show of all time. Spike, we even got that in common. The Wire #1, Sopranos #2.
Yes, facts.
With that even being the second favorite show of all time, I would love to do this because before I had pitched, I filled in for Spike a couple times. But when you said to do it officially, I'm like, man, I love what y'all doing. The last thing I want to do is take something y'all been doing for a season and a half and ruin everything that y'all built. That's the foundation. I'll put y'all in front of me. I don't care about being on the show as much as I would love to. Like, as long as you cool with it, as long as Spike cool with it.
It was also more personality too, man. Like, I don't know if Spike gonna be here Sunday, so I really want a good film. Nigga, they canceled on me like 2 weeks in a row. That's more personality.
Hey,
I'm a producer.
Let me
I'm an
make
artist.
sure I
what
got a backup for this nigga, man. Let me
know what I
make
mean?
sure.
I'm a producer.
They canceled on me a couple times.
You know what I'm saying?
I've always been a we not me dude. I've always been a we not me dude. I'm not an attention on me type of person. I'm not good at taking compliments. I'm not good at talking about myself, even though it might not seem like it this episode.
Same here.
But I'll tell you something. I never told either one of y'all. I never told either one of y'all, and this is the perfect time to say it. I'm still low key uncomfortable with the logo, me being in the center.
You talking about a good artist?
Yeah, like it just doesn't. That's just my personality.
He's like, why you put all this focus on me?
Like I'm looking at that who did, because it's all right. So I never think about the people that know. I think about the people that don't know. I'm always thinking about the people that don't know. So if you just look at that, like I didn't. This wasn't my idea. I didn't put in the work. I don't feel right looking like Tony Soprano at the head of the table.
Like the guy, like you're the guy.
And I know it's not nothing like that. And I know y'all don't look at it like that. But for me, it's just one of those humble, like, this is a little much because I respect what y'all did and what y'all built so much.
Yeah.
Rich, me and you might be separated at birth, because that's 100% a thought that I would have had. Like, what?
I was thinking that too, and I was thinking when I put you there, I kind of I rotated around different, like Spike there or me there. I kind of rotated it around, but just the shots that I had for us, yours was just more of a centered shot, so it fit better that way. And if it helps, and I appreciate that humbleness, like that's dope. But if you look at it, it's like, okay, he just came through the door. You can kind of look at it like me and Spike already at the front. You just came through the door. So now he's a part of this podcast of ours. So now we all doing it. So if that helps you, you know what I'm saying? But you do your thing,
I
bro.
know y'all didn't feel no way about it. I know y'all didn't feel no way. It was a me thing.
Like,
it was a me thing.
Like a Beyonce, like Beyonce's in the middle, like type deal. Like,
yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? One of these two brothers should be in the middle because they put in that work. They the ones that did it. So
I think to me, I look at it like you tie it together, though.
You do tie it together.
Me and Mo, we do this podcast together all the time, and it can get muddy as far as what we're doing and what we're focusing on. I think having that third voice for the Good Earners podcast has really kind of reinvigorated me to doing it. Like, it gotten a little stale, if I'm being completely transparent, because it was just me and Mo just going over scenes. But I think adding a different perspective in there maybe having two people against one, against some of the thoughts that we have on the show. Like it's revitalized it a lot for me. So I think
Yeah, you hit a different gear.
Ingeniously, like putting you in the middle was really perfect because it added what was needed. It was the binding thing to make the show last for the 6 seasons that we need to do it for.
Yeah.
No, that's dope. That's dope. I'm gonna answer the question, and then I got one question for you, Mo.
Okay.
I'm gonna answer the question though. Reputation means everything. You can't. That's how I categorize people. That's how I judge people, by your rep. That's how I know where to place you. You know, you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. You're not. I watch how you treat people. I'm big on manners. I'm real big on the pleases, thank yous. You know how you treat the CEO should be the same way you treat the janitor. I'm real big into that because it doesn't. I don't like people switching up just because of who they're talking to. So as far as my reputation, the biggest compliment and the biggest thing that I want people to take from me, or I hear from people, is I know you always gonna be there if I need you. You know, I know you're gonna be there for some sound advice. I know you're gonna be. You have enough emotional intelligence to tell me when you can't be there for me, or when you don't have the capacity or the space. But what do you need? Let me see if I can assist you somewhere else or help you someone else. If somebody thinks, and this is a personal thing as well, I hate, and it doesn't happen a lot, but I hate when I'm not who I say I am. Those moments where you get out of character and you pride yourself on being a certain way, and you flip or something happens, and now you got to address it. It's almost embarrassing for me. It's hard to address because it's not what I did. It's the fact that it even happened to begin with.
That you got.
Like, I'm not.
Point. It ain't the fact that I reacted. It's that I got to this point.
Exactly. So I am not who I said I am in any facet, whether it's a friendship, relationship, being a son, being a brother. If I don't feel like I hold on my end of the bargain or live up to my reputation, then I take that very personally. So I think that's why it's always gonna matter. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I don't care what nobody else doing, as long as I'm being me and what I got to do. That's all I care about. I can't control none of the other stuff. So that stuff means the world to me. Reputation, you know, my name is my name. I understand perfectly why Marlo gets hot. That's the only time in The Wire you see Marlo get beside himself.
How could you dare not tell me this happened, nigga? This is my name that we talked about.
The only time, one of the greatest scenes in television history.
Absolutely.
But I got a question for you, Mo.
Can you hold it? Let me respond here. You can ask the question and we'll go ahead and run it. Reputation, it still matters. It still matters to me. I don't get so caught up in just optics. A young 20-something-year-old man, I got caught up in, well, my reputation is, but it's looking like this. I don't get caught up in that no more. Ask questions if you feel that how I represented myself doesn't line up to what you feel my reputation is. And most times my reputation will line up to how it's real when you are who you think you are. Like in the words of Drake. So for me, I live by
Drizzy.
Yeah, you know. So I live by that's one of those things where it's like, no, I am who I think I am. I never tried to sell myself to be something else, like, oh, you're holier than thou, you're higher than. No, I never sold myself that way. You sold me that way. You believe that. I never said that. So reputation still matters. As far as this generation goes, I think reputation is dying in regards to like how much people care. People can say anything on wax, do anything on camera, and then turn around and be like, oh, that's not me. And let me get my publicist and come up with this apology. So it's like people there's no accountability now for your reputation. So going back to Marlo, my name is my name. That mindset, I think we need to come back to that. People don't. That's why these older rappers have issues with newer rappers, because they don't understand this. Like, bro, you playing with my name. Like, though I came from this. We really was on that. Do you realize, like, bro, it's just Twitter fingers. So, reputation is still important.
I ain't really about this life. It's just rap to me.
It's just rap to me. So
that's why I said every black man need an OG, and you need to be an OG if you need one too.
Definitely.
I got a kid that I coach. He about to be a 9th grader. Like, I just be reaching out to him sometimes. Obviously, I communicate with. I'm not just texting high schoolers. Like, I talk to his mom as far as just being a mentor for him and like being like an uncle type of figure for him.
Yeah.
So that whole thing's comfortable. Just checking in how your grades going, how's football practice, you need anything, everything good.
Would you be
stuff
a
that you might not be able to talk about?
The type of nigga that you needed at 17, 16.
Exactly. And the reason I even got into coaching, because I had people like that. I had my pops and everything like that. So that's just important. And it helps me with that new generation because I don't know anything about it. And facts. I would not be inclined to learn anything about it unless I actively try.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I got a parable that I think that goes with this episode. So bear with me as I tell it.
Yeah.
It was like this guy was walking down the middle of the street and he fell into a hole that he couldn't get out of because it was too steep to crawl out of. The pastor walked by. Well, excuse me. First, the doctor walked by and he looked down in the hole. He was like, "Doctor, I can't get out. Give me something to help me get out the hole." The doctor wrote a prescription, threw it down in the hole and walked off. Next, a preacher came by. He said, "Preacher, man, I can't get out of the hole, man. Please help me out." Preacher said a prayer with him, looked down at him, walked off, left him down in the hole. The last person to walk by was his friend. His friend walked by. Say, "Hey, Bob, man, I'm stuck down here in the hole. Please help me get out of here." His friend jumped down in the hole with him. He said, "Bob, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why would you jump down in the hole with me?" It's like, "Oh, I've been down here before. I know how to get out. I'm gonna show you." And that goes a lot to, I heard this today on a TV show that I was watching. I thought it was so dope. It goes a lot to what we're trying to figure out with this podcast. Yeah. We're not prescribing people with shit. We're not saying prayers for people. For people that have been to the places that we've been, we want to help you with it. Jump down in the hole, go to those places and be like, "Look, this is how I got out of it." It may work for you. It may not. But at least you have the information on to, when I was here, this is what I did. And that's what the week in the book.
And that is a biblical reference, just for the record, by the way. That's the biblical parable of the Good Samaritan. It is.
Give me the Bible reference. Give me the Bible reference, Pastor. Give it to me, Pastor.
I'm not a pastor, but a few people basically went by and the Good Samaritan. So the Good Samaritan is basically the least likely person. It was two people that went by that were more qualified to help somebody that was struggling, going through it. And the Good Samaritan said, "Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll be back." He went and got the person that was struggling, put them in an inn, which is like a hotel now, and told him like, "Hey, look over him. I'll be back to pay the debt until he heals up." And basically, the least likely person to help out was the person that got in the mud with him to help out. So that's a biblical reference. Jumped down in there. Got in the field with him. So yeah, that's where that come from. I just wanted to,
not the people that were most qualified.
Or the typical what you would expect.
Help you. Sometimes it's the people that's willing to get down in the dirt with you and figure it out with you.
Straight up. All right. I just got one quick question for you, Mo. It's gonna be a yes or no answer type of question.
Okay.
You can go further with it if you like to. You can keep it where it is if you don't, because it's a personal question. It's a personal question. You might have already discussed this in an episode I haven't gotten to yet. Okay. But I know that you referenced before that you and your father-in-law had a falling out of some sorts. My question in yes or no form is, have you reconciled?
That's a good question.
Have I reconciled?
With your father-in-law from whatever issue it was. I mean, it ain't even about that. Have you reconciled?
No.
Okay. I'm just going to say this because this is something that I think I do have that's unique from the both of you. I'm a junior, right? I lost my father unexpectedly in 2020. The biggest thing for me is all the conversations that I felt that I had time for. All the conversations I feel like I left on the table. You know, it's a harsh reality when you realize you can't get that back. I don't know the situation. You don't have to go into the situation. The situation isn't even a concern of mine. My biggest thing that I want to say, because when I hear things like that, I can get it. I've had fallouts with people too. And I can be stubborn to the point where I don't want to make the first move. I've been that person before. If it is not that deep, to the point where you don't feel that you can, or I guess let's put it like this. If you can live with yourself if something happened by not reconciling that, by all means, going about it the way you can. But give it thought as to maybe taking that first step, maybe being a bigger person.
I did.
Because, Okay. All right. Well, and like I said, it is what it is. Like,
Mhm.
I just want to say that. I don't know the situation, so I'm
No, I
not even,
appreciate
everything
it.
I'm saying could be null and void. It could be
But
null
you
and void.
qualify. But you
Just black
qualify.
man to black man.
Yeah.
No, I love
Yeah.
that though, man. Like
No,
you
you
heard that and you
you are
responded to that
absolutely
and got that
qualified
off.
to
Facts.
say that, and
That's really dope.
that's real. And there's
Again,
some
I'll
It
reason.
may
say-
never be what it is.
Yeah, and there's
Again,
some
I'll say
recent.
that's what this podcast and this platform is
Yes,
for.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Like you utilize it to the best of its ability, Rich. I appreciate you for that.
I do
black
too.
man.
I do too.
100%.
I absolutely do.
No
and there,
doubt. I
and
just want to
there be-
see. I just don't want to. I don't want anybody leaving with any regrets or any kind of unsaid. I just know how much that bothered me, that I had questions that I never got the answer to.
Mhm.
And I never want anybody to have to go through that if they can help it. If you can't, then you can't. But if you
Mhm.
can, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, or to anybody who's listening who might have
Yeah.
a beef with somebody,
Yeah.
something petty. It's cool to put it to the side, even if your relationship still isn't the same as it was. It
Mhm.
takes the weight off of you,
Mhm.
and
And
you
that
helps
takes a
you
lot.
sleep a little bit easier.
That
Yeah.
takes a lot, bro, for you to even say that. To
No,
have the
no, absolutely.
vulnerability to be like, nah, I've been through that, my nigga. Like, you don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
that to be sitting on you. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
that's
exactly.
exactly what another week in the books is for. I appreciate that, Rich.
No doubt. I
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all for the space, man. Like I told y'all, once one person does it, it opens up the door for everybody.
That's
and
right.
you just start, like I said, I've had friends for 25 years where one night of good conversation, I'm learning things about them that I never knew in
I
20
know
plus years of
over all
friendship.
the 20 years that I knew them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's what this
I've had
space
people from
reminds
this
me of.
show. I've had people from this show over 20
Yeah.
years of friendship that I never knew, that they DM me and be like, hey, bro, like this is what I think. Like, I listened to you say this about me or about a situation that we grew up in, and this is what I think. And thank you for giving me the platform or the DM or whatever it may be, or how they respond to me to being like, this is how I feel about it. And I don't feel no type of way about saying it to you. I just feel like that you've put out the space, like what you just said, Rich, for me to be like, I can get this off my chest now, and I feel good about it. Yep.
Mo, that's exactly why this podcast will never be dated.
Ever. There's a term that people use, producers use in this industry, evergreen. And evergreen conversations are like ones that could be used forever.
Yeah. That's the
not
objective.
No date on it. It's not about it's not about social media. It's not about timelines. It's not about things of that nature that popped up that day. It's forever. These conversations can be used.
Absolutely.
When we get done with this, it'll be like a novel that you read.
That's it. And that is another week in the books. Before we get out of here, Rich, where can they find you and what you got going on that people can follow you on, bro?
All right, big thing, the Culture Garden Podcast. It's exactly how it sounds, at the Culture Garden Podcast on Instagram. Big shout out to School. That's a little bro. It's co-host of mine. Shout out to Ray P, Rachel. She's an absolute star, man. One of one. Rachel is.
She is.
I can't wait to see everything that she ends up doing, because this is her space. I mean, she's just a natural star. We discuss films every single Thursday. They release every Thursday, mainly from the culture. You know, we have vast knowledge and everything. We're cinephiles, but mainly from the culture. Like I said, today we dropped Above the Rim. Last week was Crooklyn. We've done a lot of your favorite movies. Next week, we actually gonna have one that's outside of the culture, but that's just to show our chops. And we kind of do it like good earners, where if we're talking about one that's not, a black film, quote unquote, we like to give you a black perspective, how we look at it, how we view it, stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. We like to give you research. I guarantee you will learn something about the movie that you didn't know before. Unless you really deep into it. That's our niche. That's what makes us stand out. And just being authentically ourselves, and like I said, just being us. As far as We Got Y'all, that's another podcast I'm a part of. Me and Rachel host that. It's a television podcast. We review shows in real time. So we just finished Run the World, which comes on Stars. We'll be on break for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be doing Winning Time on HBO, and then we'll be doing Rap Shit on HBO. We tried to do Rap Shit last year.
Winning Time?
You said what?
The first season of Winning Time?
No, the second one, the new one, because it's coming out.
Cool. I can keep up with y'all then. Yeah,
they both come out in August. Yeah, so we got that, and of course, Good Earner, man. Good Earner Sopranos podcast. Can't tell y'all what it's done for me, just from a professional standpoint and from a brotherhood standpoint, to get connected with these two brothers and be able to talk Sopranos every single Sunday. Have a lot of fun, have a lot of just discourse about that world, especially since it's not something that we get that black experience from. Everything I hear Sopranos is never told from our perspective.
Absolutely.
So That's where you can find me, man.
Yes,
KRich513 on
podcast,
Instagram.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty much it.
Spike Lou, what you got going on, bro?
All the same stuff, man. Another Week in the Books podcast. Of course, you guys are listening to it right now. Check it out every Friday. We appreciate this space, being able to do what we do. It was an honor. It was a pleasure to have Rich on here to introduce him to the people that have not met him through Good Earners. You're a talented brother in this space, bro. I'm a fan. I appreciate you.
Same.
I appreciate what you have, the respect that you have for this platform. It means a lot. It means the world to me. And I don't say that facetiously at all. It means a lot to me, as some of the things that keep me going as I try to continue to do this. So I do want to make that be known very much so. And it's not anything fake about that. Also, the On Deck TV podcast every Wednesday. Make sure you check that out with my guy Animal Brown. 10 years in doing hip hop podcast from a Southern perspective. That is the On Deck TV podcast.
That's incredible, sports.
Man. Yeah.
10 years, man. That's incredible.
We was explaining podcasts to people. We was like, it's a radio show, but it's like you can get it anytime you want to. Like, yeah, we was doing that way back in the day before anybody knew what this was. Shout out to Combat Jack for giving us the idea and the thought of doing this. Shout out to the Dead End Sports guys. Dead End Sports will be coming back at the beginning of August. Brand new segments, brand new stuff produced by me personally. I am Spike Lou, taking a bigger role over there in what we're doing for the next season. Hoping we can grow that up and get that sports chat popping. Of course, Good Earners every Monday. Mafia Mondays, as Mo calls him. Enjoying doing the recap of the Sopranos podcast. I will be out here continuing to make podcast content for you. Anything that you want to reach me about, I am spikelou@gmail.com. Let's work.
And lastly, y'all know Good Earners. I don't have to recap. These brothers have done that. But also go check out my audio drama series, Roll. The audio drama series is 3 seasons. I am just about done writing this final 4th season. So it takes a lot of work because I have to do a lot of different jobs as far as writing, acting, producing, all that stuff that people don't care about. They just want the product. But y'all, in the meantime, go catch up and listen to those first 3 seasons. Coming to age story of a young black man trying to find his way in the world. Y'all be thoroughly surprised and thoroughly entertained. So if y'all haven't heard it before, go check out Roll, the audio drama series, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And as Spike said, y'all can reach us AWITB2022 @gmail.com. It is another week in the books.